Cougar fans, Peter Borkowski here on the Cougar Sports Network, bringing you this edition of Coaches Weekly. And once again, I'm joined by the head coach of the CUC football team, Coach Chase Hankins. Coach, welcome back to the show. Excited to talk to you today.
Thanks for having me.
Yep, and you and your team were back in action this past Saturday after the bye week. Traveled up to the other Concordia, Wisconsin, and unfortunately fell to the Falcons 52-24. But, you know, we spent the last 2 weeks talking about how the bye week was going, how the 2 weeks of practice between games was going. So coming out of the CUW game now, looking back on it, just how do you think your team kind of handled that by, those 2 weeks in between games in retrospective? Did you think we talked about the positives they could have taken out of it going into CUW. We talked about the negatives they could have taken out of it. Just what was kind of your impression after that CUW game, coming out of the 2 weeks of practice?
Yeah, I think, kind of looking back and seeing if there was anything that we could have done differently in the practice week, I don't think that we would change anything over those byes because guys that we needed to get back healthy ended up playing in those games. Unfortunately, in that opening drive for our offense, we had like 3 offensive linemen have some pretty dramatic things that impacted the way they could perform the rest of the game. But I don't think I would change anything as far as the preparation that went into that. It's just kind of that same Achilles heel that we've been dealing with us having such a young team of not being able to finish. And I think that for guys that just kind of look at the scores and look at stats, it doesn't really tell the whole story of the game where, we had over 400 yards of offense. We drove the ball pretty much all but 2 drives. And our defense did a lot of good stuff on first and second down, just not necessarily third down.
Right.
And so when people just kind of look at the scores, they think, oh, there was no progress that was made. But there was a lot of progress. It just unfortunately doesn't show up in a way that fans can just pick it out right out of the lineup. So really happy with how our guys prepared, but obviously not happy with the result. But there were some good things in the game that I was proud of.
Right. Well, I want to hone in on the offense a little bit, which you talked about. I mean, this was, by numbers, the best offensive production you guys have had in quite a couple of games. I know you guys were kind of struggling there. So what was the success of the offense this week at CUW? I mean, again, you guys kind of struggled, but like you said, you put up a ton of yards, you put up 24 points on the board, you scored every quarter. So what was kind of the key to getting the offense back into the groove they were in before that little skid you guys fell into?
Just not growing weary and doing good. Just the Bible verse that we've been harping on all year. St. Norbert was a fantastic defense, and WLC threw some stuff at us that we didn't have on tape, and then we were also banged up front that really impacted what we were able to do. But that bye week and the prep up to CUW was just getting back to what made us successful against Rockford, Greenville, Manchester, Lakeland, and seeing if we can find that spark, and we did, all the way up till like the 5 yards and in where we did struggle, which we're hoping to get corrected this week.
Well, and the other aspect of the offense that I found interesting was receiving-wise, you had 5 guys over 40 yards against CUW. And the guy with the least amount of yards, Wes Jackson, also had 2 touchdown catches. He's been having a fantastic sophomore year. So, and I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, it doesn't seem like we've kind of seen that kind of receiving game yet where you have 5 guys who are getting a little receiving yards here, just spreading the ball around really well. So was that kind of in the game plan? Did that just kind of happen naturally? Can you just talk about the way you guys were able to spread the wealth receiving-wise on Saturday?
Yeah, so, that in essence is what the offense has always been designed to do. And kind of going back to what I was saying earlier where, maybe the scoreboard wasn't truly accurate in how much the team has grown. The offense has had a good year, especially compared to the last couple of years. But this game was the most I wanted the offense to look like, where we were able to spread the ball out. It's hard to double cover one guy when another guy's got 4 or 5 catches for over 50 yards. So what makes the offense progress is the quarterback and the receivers gelling, which they've really been able to do over the last month, even in the face of probably playing the best defenses that we've played all year.
Well, the season wraps up tomorrow. You guys welcome Benedictine to CUC, and it's, kind of like we talked about with the homecoming game, there's a lot of external factors surrounding this game. Last game of the year, last home game of the year, and it's also senior day, the first one you guys have had in 2 seasons. So kind of like I asked you before the homecoming game, just what are you and the coaching staff doing to best prepare your team for what's probably going to be an emotional day tomorrow? I mean, those seniors, it's an important group of seniors that are playing their last game in the maroon and gold. Just what are you kind of telling your guys, hey, I know there's a lot going on tomorrow, but we still got to do this on the field.
Well, the reason why I prefer senior day over, a homecoming, where homecoming you have a lot of distractions that take you away from the preparation, where having the seniors that, to me, have meant a lot to my career, because I came in and they were that sophomore class that just experienced a pretty weird year, their freshman year with a new coach coming in and all that stuff, and then all the adversity that they've had to overcome over the last 3 years. They're a special group for me, and they've really paved the way for guys to maybe not have to go through those same struggles that they did. So this week has been all about them, and that sends a little bit more meaning, because they're leaders at every position group that they exist in, and guys are going to want to get up and play for them. So it's kind of a nice case study between homecoming and senior day, where homecoming takes away from our preparation, where senior day in a lot of ways adds to it.
Right. Well, and then to wrap up here, just a basic question. What do you guys need to do tomorrow to end the year on a high note? You talked about that preparation this week. It's all about the seniors. But in terms of on the gridiron, what do you guys need to do tomorrow to pick up a big win against Benny and end the year on a high note for your seniors?
Yeah. Score more points than they do.
Right.
Pretty much the exact same answer that I gave you all the way back at Greenville. But, I love my guys. I love what they've been able to accomplish this year and the growth that they've experienced. And it's time to just put it all together.
Right.
And no better time than the last game of the year to score more points than they do and prevent them from scoring, which is how you win football games.
Of course.
Yep.
Easy formula.
Yep.
Well, CUC welcoming Benedictine to Concordia tomorrow for the season finale, and senior day coverage for the game can be found at our website, cucougars.com, and the live stream on our YouTube page, CUC Sports. Kickoff is at 4:12 p.m. Coach, thanks for joining me today. Good luck tomorrow in the final game of your first year as head coach, and hopefully you guys can send your seniors out on a high note. But until next time, this is Peter Borkowski signing off of the Cougar Sports Network, and wanting to say, as always, go Cougars! Go Good afternoon, Cougar fans, and welcome to Concordia Stadium as we get set for the 2024 season finale of your CUC Cougars football team as they take on the Eagles from Benedictine University. Peter Borkowski, Jonathan Shear here on the Cougar Sports Network. And Jonathan, big game here today for the Cougars, trying to end year one under head coach Chase Hankins on a high note. Last game of the year, last home game of the year, and it's also senior day, the first senior day the Cougars have had since 2022. So this is going to be a big emotional day for these Cougars, taking on one of their most let's say strong rivals in the Benedictine Eagles, only about 20 to 30 minutes away in Lisle, Illinois, so one of the closest connections in the Northern Athletic Collegiate Conference, taking each other on here at Concordia Stadium. Let's dive into the two teams before we get set for the broadcast. First, for your Concordia University Chicago Cougars, Jonathan, they kind of got a little bit back on track against CU Dub, and I know you see a 52-24 loss to CU Dub last week, and you say, well, that's not getting back on track. But let's start with the offense, because the defense struggled as they have been all season. But for the offense, this was an offense that kind of struggled in the weeks beforehand, but they come out, quarterback Colton Bosch, over 300 yards on the day, 2 touchdowns and a pair of interceptions. And they also had 5 receivers with 40-plus yards. And Jonathan, it was just really overall a day for CUC's offense to kind of get back in groove, even if the rushing game was still struggling a little bit. They were outgained by over 100 yards on the ground. So kind of a mix of positive and negatives on the offensive end for CUC.
Absolutely. Like you mentioned, it's a bit of a get back for the offense. The first game since Rockford, this offense put up more than 20 points. But then you mentioned that rushing attack, and while that offense did get back on track last week, it was all the passing game. That rushing attack, a net 34 yards gained. That rushing attack hasn't gained more than 50 yards since Rockford.
Yeah.
The last 3 weeks, it's been a net fewer than 40 yards for every single game. This rushing attack has struggled after starting off the year so strong, but now you are going up against a Benedictine team this week that does give up a lot of rushing yards. So that's something the Cougars really kind of need to focus on, is that rushing attack. What's been going wrong the last few weeks? How are they going to fix that?
Right. Well, let's talk about, I mentioned those 5 receivers with 40-plus yards. Coach Chase Hankins, in his coach's interview this past week, basically said this is what the offense is supposed to be. It's getting the ball to this guy, to this guy, to this guy. It's sharing the rock around. And one of those guys who had those 40-plus yards and also had a pair of touchdowns last weekend was Wes Jackson. And the tight end, the quarterback turned tight end, I should say, has become a favorite end zone target for Colton Bosch. He's had 3 games with multiple receiving touchdowns for CUC, including last week against CU Dub. And again, he's just kind of an example as the season's gone on, Jonathan, of Coach Hankins starting to branch out a little bit with who he wants Colton Bosch throwing to.
Absolutely. You saw at the start of the year, that passing attack went through Jace Levi and almost exclusively Jace Levi. But then last week, 5 receivers, 40 yards. Wes Jackson really has become a lot more incorporated in the offense around the field as a whole as this season's gone on. They're running more swing passes to Jackson. They're trying to find him more, create those opportunities, because he's a different kind of player that you can go to. It's that diversified offense that can really help you put a defense off balance, make them guess a bit more at what you're going to do. He's played a big role in that. It opens up every player to have more opportunities on the field.
All right. Well, let's switch over to the visitors from Lisle, Illinois, Benedictine University. They're coming off a tough loss of their own, 56-20 against Aurora University. Their quarterback, Wajewski, threw 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions, just like Colton Bosch. But the strength against Aurora was the rushing game. They had over 120 net yards from it. Dino Stevens Jr. We'll talk about him some more in a bit. But really, Jonathan, their offense was outgained. Aurora doubled up on them, over 500 yards of offense for Aurora, about 222 for Benedictine. This is an offense that struggled all year. They really struggled to get the ball moving. Their passing game is not really good, but they kind of offset it with the rushing game. We'll talk about that more in a second. But this is Benedictine squad who's kind of a reverse of the Cougars. Yep. They have a really good defense, 3rd best defense in the conference. Their offense, though, they've struggled all season long for Benedictine.
They really have. You mentioned that good rushing attack. That rushing attack nearly has gained as many yards as the passing attack. And that's not something you see often with a football team. Naturally, your passing game is going to gain more yards.
Right.
But this rushing attack is nearly matching that. For Benedictine, they actually really have struggled this year, 4-5 on the season. They have been buoyed by a very, very strong defense even a lot of their losses, they've been close games that this defense has kept them in.
Right.
It's a very, very strong part of this team. And that defense has to then have the offense put up points to then win those games. And the rushing attack has been good,
Right.
but there's just not enough diversity with that offense to put up enough points.
Well, let's talk about that rushing attack a little bit. A dual-headed monster in the backfield for Benedictine. Dino Stevens as well as Blake Shoddy, the two primary running backs, are about equal in yards. Stevens does lead that category. Shoddy's top 5 in the conference in rushes, though. They both have 5 touchdowns on the season, so this is a very well-balanced rushing attack, as we said. Now let's move on to some history. Over time, Benedictine leads CUC 39 wins to CUC's 6. Benedictine won last year 48-14 on Benedictine soil. But for CUC, the last time they beat the Eagles was right here at CUC 2022 on Senior Day. So Cougars hoping for a little bit of repeat history today on the first Senior Day since that win over Benedictine in 2022. But Jonathan, last game of the year, you want to send your seniors out on a high note. What do the Cougars need to do on the gridiron today to come away with a win against a, like you said, maybe a bit of a down Benedictine team, but still a talented Benedictine team at the end of the day?
Absolutely. I mean, you go into this game, it's going to be an uphill battle against Benedictine. And then you have to look at the Cougars' defense, a defense that has struggled this year. And on Senior Day, it's actually, from my view, the youngest part of this team that has to figure things out. A lot of freshmen on that defense, and one of the things that defense has really struggled with, they've struggled with a lot of things, but they're giving up 230 plus rushing yards per game. That's the strongest part of this Benedictine team. You need to limit that. Keep the Benedictine under preferably 200 yards this game. Keep that low. Force them to use that passing game, use their QBs, try to spread out the offense. You might not be able to keep them low scoring, but low enough that your offense can keep pace with the Eagles.
Right. And real quick, my key to the game here is for CUC's offense. It's just slow things down, and play your game. Coach Hankins talked about that this past Coaches Weekly. This is a Benedictine defense that is starting 6 upperclassmen versus just 5 underclassmen. So this is a very experienced defense with a couple of players who have a lot of accolades over the years versus a very young CUC offense. If the offense can just kind of slow things down, play their game, and continue to build on the positives that we saw last week against CU Dubs, they should have a decent enough game against this defense. If their defense can then just hold this lackluster Benedictine offense low, like Jonathan said, could be a good day for the Cougars here on Senior Day 2024. Cougars welcoming the Eagles of Benedictine University to Concordia Stadium. Kickoff is set for about a half an hour at 12 p.m. Coverage will be found, of course, on the live stream on CUC Sports on our YouTube page. Jonathan and I will be on the call with you afternoon for Senior Day. Cougars wrapping up the 2024 season with a little knack action against the Eagles of Benedictine. We'll be back here on the Cougar Sports Network in just a second.
numerical order. We begin with number 0, wide receiver Jace Levi. Jace is from Davenport, Iowa, and is accompanied by his mom, Christina, and his dad, Derek. As a Cougar, Jace has played in 19 games and accumulated 1,095 receiving yards. During his time at CUC, he is most proud of maintaining academic excellence and participating in volunteer work with Feed My Starving Children. The thing he will remember most about his time here is all the wonderful mentors he's encountered. He is majoring in business administration with an emphasis on marketing sales management. Jace is planning on using his 5th year of eligibility to play for the Cougars next season before pursuing a career in pharmaceutical sales or professional football. Thank you, Jace Levi. Receiver Devin Bledsoe. Devin is from St. Charles, Missouri, and is accompanied by his mom, Amy Raftery. As a Cougar, Devin has played in 28 games and amassed 766 receiving yards. While at Concordia, Devin is most proud of facing the challenges of being away from home and growing as a person over his time here. What he will remember the most are the people he's met, the friends he's made, and the coaches who have cared about him and shaped him into who he is today. He will also remember how football and Concordia helped him connect with others and find himself in the Lord. Devin will graduate with a degree in health science and plans to pursue grad school or take a gap year to reflect more about his next steps. Thank you, Devin Bledsoe. Number 5, quarterback Troy Prattley. Troy is from St. Joseph, Michigan, and is accompanied by his parents, Kristen and Andrew Prattley, and his sisters, Ellison and Brianne. As a Cougar, Troy has played in 38 games and recorded 1,745 passing yards. He is most proud of the guys being recognized today for their dedication to the program and for making it to the end together, even though the journey wasn't easy. Troy will always cherish the inside jokes and memories shared with teammates, as well as the opportunities CUC football has provided him. He will graduate with a degree in secondary education with a minor in sports management, with plans to head home to Michigan to be a middle school teacher and high school football coach with his father and grandfather. Thank you, Troy Prattley. Number 14, defensive back Marvin Rushing. Marvin is from Detroit, Michigan, and accompanied by his mom, Maya, and his dad, Marvin. As a Cougar, Marvin has played in 19 games and recorded 127 tackles. During his time at Concordia, he is most proud of the resilience, the team, and its ability to fight through adversity. He will most remember the relationships he has made with his teammates and coaches. Marvin will graduate with a degree in business management, with plans to get a job related to his degree and coach high school football. Thank you, Marvin Rushing. Number 24, running back Jordan Garcia. Jordan is from West Chicago, Illinois, and is accompanied by his parents, Catherine and Jaime Garcia, his 3 brothers, Jacob, Jeremy, and Jimmy, his fiancée, Grace Schweiz, and his dog, Cubby. As a Cougar, Jordan has played in 19 games, accumulating 57 rushing yards. During his time here, Jordan is most proud of staying and believing in what CUC Football has been building, fighting through adversity, and having the integrity to come back every year. He will remember being around his teammates, who he considers his brothers, every day, some of which will be standing in his wedding next June. Jordan will graduate with a degree in criminal justice with minors in sports management and business, with plans to pursue a career in law enforcement, to eventually become a K-9 officer and possibly work within the FBI. Thank you, Jordan Garcia. Number 41, kicker Ryan R. Ryan is from Newark, Ohio, and is accompanied by his dad, Phil, his mom, Joyce, his stepdad, Rob, his little sister, Emma, and his girlfriend, MJ. As a Cougar, Ryan has played in 39 games and amassed 7,860 yards on kickoffs. He is most proud of playing football all 4 years and not shying away from challenges while being able to contribute to the team. He will always remember the amazing people that he's met along the way. Ryan will graduate with a degree in special education and plans on student teaching in the spring to start his teaching and coaching careers at the high school level in Columbus City Schools. Thank you, Ryan R. Number 44, linebacker Trevon Thomas. Trevon is from Wauchula, Florida, and is accompanied by his dad, Lee. As a Cougar, Trevon has played in 39 games and recorded 255 tackles. He is most proud of the bonds and lifelong relationships that he's made over the past 4 years at Concordia. Trevon's most memorable moment was his pick 6 during the sophomore year homecoming against Rockford. He will graduate with a degree in business management with a minor in sports management, with plans to pursue a career in sports, potentially coaching. Thank you, Trevon Thomas. Number 52, offensive lineman C.J. Morris. C.J. is from Douglasville, Georgia, and is accompanied by his mom, Keisha, his dad, Chris, his brother, A.J., and his sisters, Brittany and Vonnie. As a Cougar, C.J. has played in 31 games as a key member of the offensive line. CJ will remember spending time with all his guys and is most proud of the lifelong friends he's made throughout his time at Concordia. He is also proud of never shying away from adversity. CJ will graduate with a degree in early childhood education with an endorsement in ESL, planning to pursue what the Lord calls him to do. Thank you, C.J. Morris. Number 56, offensive lineman Jalen Franklin. Jalen is from New Orleans, Louisiana, and is accompanied by his mom, Kimberly. As a Cougar, Jalen has played in 29 games as a main component component of the offensive line. He is most proud of never shying away from all the trials and tribulations that have happened during his time at CUC. No matter what, he stayed and endured because not only did he commit to a football program, but also his education. Coming from Louisiana and not knowing much about Illinois, his friends and coaches made CUC feel like home, something he will never forget. Jalen will graduate with a degree in exercise science with plans to become a football coach at either the high school or collegiate level. Thank you, Jalen Franklin. Number 65, offensive lineman Christian Duran. Christian is from Joliet, Illinois, and is accompanied by his mom, Rosa, and his dad, Frank. As a Cougar, Christian has played in 36 games as a crucial member of the offensive line. He is most proud of succeeding both academically and athletically as a first-generation student, never shying away from the challenges that came with it. He will always remember the friendships he has made over the past 4 years. Christian will graduate with a degree in business management with plans to start his own business in the near future. Thank you, Christian Duran. Number 97, defensive lineman Myron Spencer. Myron is from Detroit, Michigan, and is accompanied by his mom, Carmen. As a Cougar, Myron has played in 11 games and accumulated 15 tackles. During his time at CUC, he is most proud of completing his education and creating close relationships with his teammates. The thing Myron will remember the most is building relationships with his professors and having fun with his teammates off the field. Myron will graduate with a degree in criminal justice with plans to pursue a career in law enforcement. Thank you, Myron Spencer. Coach Hankins has this to say about the senior class. This class will always hold a special place in my heart for as long as I coach. They were the freshman class when I was first brought in as an assistant coach, and there is a sense of feeling that we grew together over the past few years. They are the epitome of our team Bible verse, Galatians 6:9. They did not grow weary in the doing of good, because they know that there will be a time for them to reap their harvest, because they never gave up. Thank you to these 11 incredible seniors for all their hard work and dedication to the Cougar football program. Let's give one big round of applause to our 2024 seniors. Best of luck and God's richest blessings in your future endeavors.
Cougar football is on the air. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Concordia Stadium as we get set for Senior Day 2024. Also, the season finale is your Concordia University Chicago Cougars taking on the Eagles of Benedictine University. Peter Borkowski here on the Cougar Sports Network, joined, as always, by Jonathan Shear. And Jonathan, we kind of talked about the pregame show, but just a lot of emotions out there right now for the CUC squad. Last game of the year, last home game of the year, Senior Day for this large group of very important seniors who we're going to talk about all day long. I mean, this is their last game in the maroon and gold, and one of the challenges of today is learning how to kind of temper those emotions. Don't let them get the best of you. There are ways to use them in a positive light, but you got to kind of keep things under control too, because at the end of the day, you still got 60 minutes of football in front of you.
Absolutely, and they're going up against the Benedictine Eagles today. This is a winnable game for the Cougars. The Eagles have struggled this year, but this is a game that you do have to focus to have that chance to win. The Eagles are not a pushover. This is a tough team. They have a good defense. They have an offense that isn't the best, but it's capable. So you have to focus, and you have to find a way to really put things together out on the field. You're not going to stumble your way into a win today.
CUC, they're coming into today 2-7, 1-6 within Northern Athletic Collegiate Conference play. They're also 1-3, one playing here at home. Currently on a 4-game losing streak, however, as their last win came on October 5th, a 31-27 win at Eureka College. That is their lone conference win of the year. Meanwhile, for the Benedictine Eagles, they're rolling into today 4-5, as Jonathan mentioned, 2-5 within conference play. They are 3-2 on the road. They are on a one-game losing streak after falling to Aurora 56-20 this past weekend. Benedictine currently ranked 6th in the NAC, while the Cougars are sitting at number 8 out of 9. So the referees meet at center field to talk things over before we get underway here. Should mention that for Benedictine, this is their most losses in a season already since 2018, when they had 7 total losses, and this is the most losses under head coach Jim Schroeder. He's been there since 2019, a 33-18 overall record as head coach. He was previously the Rockford head coach, so Coach Schroeder for Benny kind of flipping around the conference, even though he did get his start as Benedictine's defensive coordinator all the way back in 2005. Spent some years at Rockford and is back here at Benny. Has had a pretty successful tenure up until this year, which, as we mentioned, has been a little lackluster by Eagles standards. So the Cougars, they'll kick off here. One of the seniors being honored before today's game, Ryan Auer, will do the honor for CUC. Meanwhile, for Benedictine, they got Sebastian Hill back in the backfield to return the kick, as well as DJ McIntosh, as this ball is going to get to Sebastian Hill, and he's going to try his hand at a return here. Cougars able to corner him. Sebastian Hill cuts back and is now brought down right before the 30-yard line. Decent return on the kickoff by Sebastian Hill, and Benedictine will roll out their offense to start off the afternoon.
They're going to roll out an offense that hasn't been the best this year. And we've talked about this coming into this game. It's strength on strength. The Cougars have a good offense. The Eagles have a good defense. We're going to start off with those weak points of the teams going up against each other. The Eagles offense that struggled on the year up against the Cougars defense that has struggled on the year. And this is going to be really interesting to see, can this Cougars offense slow down Benedictine, or is this offense going to be able to capitalize on one of the worst defenses they've played all year?
It is strength on strength. A lackluster Benedictine offense taking on a lackluster CUC defense, and then a strong Benny defense versus a strong CUC offense, as the Cougars swarm the first rush of the day by Benedictine, and that'll result in just a short gain on the rush.
That's Blake Shoddy getting the first carry of the day. And that's what we were expecting to see a lot of from Benedictine to start this game, is the rushing attack, just the ground game. Because this Cougars team, they struggle in all facets, but the run is included on that. And the strongest part of this offense is the run game for the Eagles. So don't expect them to stop rushing the ball, especially early on.
Well, they bring in Dino Stevens Jr., and he'll take the swing pass. And now Stevens, he's got a lane to run up the far sideline. And there is that vaunted rushing attack as he trails the goal line for a second before stepping in for the first score of the afternoon. Dino Stevens Jr., his 6th rushing touchdown of the year, and Benedictine, less than a minute into this game, they got a 6-0 lead over the Cougars.
And I was wondering, how are we going to see this play out? Because a lot of times in teams that utilize 2 running backs, they utilize them with one more of an up-the-middle ground and pound, and the other one's more of your spread back. Get them out to the sides, run to the sides, pass out to the sides. It looks like that's what they're going to do. Stevens is going to be your swing back, and he already shows how lethal he can be on his first touch today.
The kick from Humberto Velasquez is up and good, so an early 7-0 lead here, as you can see the replay on your screen now. And yeah, just a short little pass out to the wing, and Dino Stevens Jr. finding all the space he needs. Do you want to correct, it is a receiving touchdown. So that'll be touchdown pass number 10 for Evan Wydujewski, who, you know, we talked about the rushing attack from the Eagles, Jonathan, but the passing attack has really been the point of struggle, and it kind of starts with Wydujewski so far on the year. He's coming into today 856 yards, 9 touchdowns, now 10 touchdowns to 8 interceptions. That is one of the worst touchdown to interception ratios in the entire NAC conference. So this is a quarterback who has not had a lot of things to celebrate this year, but I do like that play call from the Benedictine offensive coordinator Michael Whitley there of, hey, nice little pass out to the wing, get it to your playmaker and Stevens, and he took it all the way for a passing touchdown.
Exactly. The swinging screen, it's usually safe for a completion. Will it work for a gain? Not always, but it's a safe pass, high percentage of completion, good first pass play.
Well, Henry Jones Jr. will take the kickoff, and he gets all stumbled up. He's brought down right at the 20-yard line. Good job by the Benedictine special teamers. Cougars got almost nothing on that return. They're going to have some tough field positioning to start here. And, you know, last thing we'll say about that, you know, passing touchdown is where CUC does have experience defensively, it's up front. It's on that front 7, really the defensive line. Guys like, Trayvon Thomas is playing on the end. Myron Spencer, one of the seniors. Like those guys, all those kind of experienced guys. Brandon Montford, one of the linebackers, he's a junior. They're all up front. That secondary is very young. So if you can kind of get it around that front 7, you're off for a good start. As good run here by the Cougars on Joran Brown, able to keep tumbling his way forward. And they're going to mark him about a yard short of a first down.
And 9 yards. You know, it's weird to say, but after last week, that is over a quarter of the net yardage the Cougars had on the ground last week. A really good start to a ground game for Joran Brown, who has honestly struggled in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, Joran Brown, all-conference honorable mention last season as he gets another handoff here. Tries to escape around the edge, but good penetration by the Benedictine defense. Was Jesse Escudero, the linebacker, as well as Jack Hayden, a 2023 All-NAC honorable mention. They got in the backfield quick to bring Brown down, but yeah, Brown had a good freshman year last year. Might have been freshman of the year if he didn't miss a couple games due to injury. And he had a good start to this year. He still has 569 net rushing yards, but like you said, Jonathan, that is really slowed down over the last couple weeks within conference play. As Brown had a good start to the season and has kind of trailed off here as the Cougars third and manageable, and that pass is going to be off target. Just a little in front of Jace Levi. So the Cougars, they're going to go 3 and out here on their first drive. They'll bring out the punt squad. Dennis Vanderplow, the punter, back.
Well, that 3 and out feels a bit worse when you add 2.5 yard to go. And that's just kind of the problem we've seen with CUC. They can get those chunk plays once in a while, but they can't get that chunk yardage consistently, those 5-6 yards to slowly progress down the field. That's been their struggle in the past couple of weeks, and it crops up again here on this first drive.
Alex Corbett back to receive the punt. Vanderplow gets it off, and not a ton on it. It lands just over the 50-yard line. It'll bounce out at about the 45 on Benedictine's side, I believe that is where they will mark it. So not much on that punt from Dennis Vanderplow, and that's been a struggle as well for CUC. Coming into today, if you look at Vanderplow, he's averaging just 31.9 yards per punt, and we've talked about it before, the punter kind of underappreciated sometimes, and just you don't really notice it until you have a punter who's not doing so well on the season. Punters are able to flip the field, but now CUC's defense, who just got off the field a couple minutes ago, mind you, they're right back, and they're already on Benedictine's 45-yard line. So they're going to have to toughen up here. They're going to have to clutch up and keep this game within one score. Wadajewski, it's a handoff to Shoddy. Shoddy, a little spark plug out of the backfield. Blake Shoddy staying at 5'4", but 200 pounds. Shorter player, but like I said, he's got that spark plug build to him. He's able to pop through that front line. As they're going to keep Shoddy out there. He lines up to the right of Wadajewski. And the offense stops. They turn to find the play caller as they have 13 seconds left on the play clock. And a little switch here as Shoddy switches sides on Wadajewski. Snap, and it'll be another handoff. And Blake Shoddy, he's got enough for a first down.
And I mean, I kind of talked about it quick after the first one. Now we're seeing it more this drive of what Blake Shoddy can do. The ground and pound, take the ball, not even really any moves, just straight up the middle. And you can gain 4 or 5 yards every rush, slowly move down the field. And if they continue to do this, the Cougars are going to have to sell out a bit more on stopping the interior run, which again could open up that outer spot, this outer wings. Getting this interior run is going to be critical for the Eagles, and they're doing it so far.
1st and 10. Now it's a handoff, and Stevens breaks off another big run. Marvin rushing will bring him down, but Dino Stevens Jr. already having a game, and we're not even at the 11-minute mark of the first quarter as he moves the chains, and he'll set up his Eagles offense on the Cougars 25. Stevens, meanwhile, he stands at 5'10", 195. So neither running back for this Eagles squad is particularly big, both in terms of height or size, but they have been running rampant on the Cougars through this first drive and a half. Stevens still out there with Wadajewski. And they're going to just keep handing him the rock, and he'll get stood up here, falls forward for a couple extra yards. Benedictine, they're going with if it ain't broke, don't fix it type mentality here. They are just handing that ball off to whatever running back they're featuring. And as of now, CUC not able to come up with a solution for it.
Yeah, I mean, you don't need to pass the ball if there's no requirement to. And they don't have to right now. The run game is doing everything they need to, slowly moving down the field, working you into the red zone.
Ball just a couple of yards as here's a little swing out to Stevens, and he finds a hole, and he's brought down over the first down marker, as that'll move Benny into the red zone. Another good rush there as Wadajewski finding Stevens out on the wing. As with 9.5 minutes to go here, it'll be 1st and 10. Ball set up on the CUC 14. Benedictine takes a second to get the call in. We've seen them do that a couple of times today. They'll set up and they'll stop and look to the sideline. And Stevens does switch sides on Wadajewski. It'll be another handoff. Stevens bunny hops and now plows forward. I get about 3 yards on that gain.
I do really, really like what Benedictine's doing on the offensive end with these late play changes. Because you get the CUC defense set up, you get a glimpse, and something that a young defense will always struggle with is adapting to audibles.
Adjustment, right. Yeah, this is a young CUC defense. And even though, Benedictine is not a particularly high-scoring offense, they do have some experience up on the Cougars. As now they'll go through a passing play, and they'll go to a passing touchdown. Reeling it in is Jason Moore Jr. And after a drive where Benedictine went to the rush almost every play, they end it with a touchdown pass from Wadajewski to Moore. And with 8:32 left to go here in the first quarter, Benny takes a 13-0 lead. Extra point from Velasquez coming up here. Velasquez making his last extra point. Kick is up, and that dings off the left upright, but it is a positive doink for the Eagles as they take a 14-0 lead. Wojciechowski finding more in the end zone.
Just watch how much CUC sells out on the press defense. When we do get this most recent touchdown up, that's the first Stevens touchdown you're seeing right now, but this last touchdown, you see exactly what the advantage of having that strong rushing attack is, which it causes the defense to only focus on that short field. So then once you go to the passing, the defense, even if they are covering deep, they're still looking upfield. They're expecting you to run at the line. So when you do run that pass play, you catch the Cougars a bit off guard like you saw there, and your receivers just slipping past the DBs who are watching the line for a bit too long, and that's all the separation you need in the red zone.
Jason Moore Jr. reeling in touchdown number 2. Wow. Evan Wojciechowski dishing out touchdown pass number 11 and his second of the day. And we'll talk about something in a second here, see what Jace Levi can do on the kick return. Levi, one of the seniors honored today for the Cougars. He's brought down at the 25-yard line. But kind of a trend you don't like to see if you're a Cougar fan, Jonathan, is we've seen it a couple of times. We're seeing it today with Wojciechowski already. We kind of saw it with WLC. These teams who are, struggling offensively, these players who are struggling offensively, they come to River Forest, they come to play the Cougars, or they play the Cougars at home, and all of a sudden those guys are having career days. And, that's not something you want to hear if you are a Cougars fan. I mean, it's something we're talking about before the game. You look at kind of the offensive players of the week for the NAC. Unfortunately, it's usually the guy who just played CUC. So this is a defense who they've given up some big games to some players, as that is a big tackle. Joron Brown thrown to the ground. That was by John Thompson, the 6'2 sophomore out of Orland Park.
That'll move the chains. First down run again, and it works well. Again, now the Cougars have to figure out, what do you do on second down? What do you do after that big first down?
Well, they're going to give it back to Joron Brown, and he's going to get another good gain out of this. He cuts the distance to first down about in half here, as we'll bring up second down. Cougars going to Brown twice in a row. He's still out there, set up to the left of his fellow sophomore, Colton Bosch. As now he's going to switch over to the right side. And he switches back to the left side. And now he's set, as it will be another handoff. Brown trying to plow his way forward. Doesn't get much as Benedictine picks up on the run game. And that'll bring up third and manageable for CUC.
And CUC trying to do a bit of what the Eagles do. Pound the rock, just run, force the defense to focus on that. The difference is the run blocking, and that's something that the Cougars have struggled on the year as a whole, is the blocking at the line, run or pass, and you kind of see the difference right there. Joron Brown is a great running back, but if he doesn't have the blocking at the line, you can't just run through the defenders. They're going to bring you down.
Third and manageable. See what the Cougars cook up, and they will pass it, and it is batted down. Great play there out of Johnny Camillo, senior out of Norwich. He sniffed out that play, immediately comes up, bats it down, and it'll be fourth down, and CUC bring out the punt unit once more.
That's the exact defensive play call that counters the short curl on the outside wing, that zone where you just have your players, in this case Camillo, just lurking back a little bit to watch the whole play, and there's enough distance between Bosch and the targeted receiver that you have time to run up on that and get there. You have to get that pass out quickly, because if you don't, that's what's going to happen.
And Benny, they're going to try and return this with Alex Corbett. He doesn't get much. That was a risky play by Corbett. He played it on the bounce to Cougars right in his face, and it's kind of it should be considered a success. He didn't lose any yardage on that. So 6:34, a decent punt here from Dennis Vanderplow will set Benedictine up on their own 20-yard line. But that doesn't seem to do much against an offense that, despite struggling coming into today, they've been rolling about a little over halfway through this first quarter.
Yeah, and the Cougars on the year as a whole, I mean, we've talked a lot about they give up a lot of yards per game. They also give up a lot of yards per play. 8.07 yards per play allowed coming into this game. That's only gone up in this game so far, and that's one of the worst in the country. So Benedictine, they are very clearly capitalizing on that. A 1-yard gain, that's actually their shortest offensive gain of the game today. So the Cougars defense getting a first down stop, which is good for CUC.
As now we have an Eagle on the ground. That is Tyler Hart, one of the offensive linemen for Benny, as his helmet is now off. And players meeting up with their coaches to talk things over. 6:20 to go here in the first. Benedictine on top of the Cougars, 14-0. But like I said, it is senior day, and during some of the breaks in the game, I do want to take a chance to highlight the seniors who all walked before the game started, and we'll just go in numerical order, which means, of course, we start with number 0, Chase Levi, a native of Davenport, Iowa. He played in 19 games as a Cougar coming into today. He transferred to CUC last season, and he immediately made his mark, 1,095 receiving yards in those 19 games. He was an all-conference player last year as well, all-conference second team, majoring in business administration with an emphasis on marketing, sales, management. And he will be coming back to the Cougars next year. He's going to use his 5th year of eligibility to play for CUC next season. So, Jace Levi walking here today on Senior Day, but don't worry, all you Cougar fans who like watching number 0 out there. He will be back for another season next year, and we can kind of talk about that. That's just a huge, other than you're gaining a talented receiver back, that's big for Colton Bosch's development last year. That junior season is usually when you see players make that jump. Colton Bosch has had a good sophomore year, but that junior year is where you really see them turn into the quarterback that they can. So having Jace Levi, who's been here since Bosch got here, who's been one of his favorite targets all season long, to have him coming back next year for Bosch's junior year, that's a big boost for Colton Bosch in terms of his development.
You love consistency, especially from your favorite targets. We've talked about it. Jace Levi, he's Colton Bosch's safety blanket. And if you can have that safety blanket as a young QB, it's great. If you still have that safety blanket once you're finally getting to the best quarterback you can be, it really can level up your play to the next step.
Yeah, Levi is Bosch's second favorite target, 27 receptions, second only to Henry Jones in his 38, but he does lead the Cougars in receiving yards with 449. So Tyler Hart helped off the field by his training staff, and the clock resumes. It's 2nd down and 9 for the Eagles, and they're going to find a big shot downfield, and wide open is Alex Seibens. He sees nothing but green in front of him, waves goodbye to the defense, and rushes into the end zone for a touchdown. Benny strikes once again. It is 20-0, 5:59 to go here in the first quarter.
Alex Seibens, he is a big play threat coming into this game, averaging 20 yards a reception. Longest play of the season, 88 yards. He gets another massive play, just catches the Cougars defense off guard. And once we get to the replay, we'll break that down. Again, that secondary just breaking down on CUC's end. But again, Seibens, big play threat. Big plays coming out for the Eagles. There's a late flag, looks to be some sort of unsportsmanlike conduct, excessive celebration against Benny after the play.
Yeah, so the touchdown will stand. As for Seibens, that is touchdown reception number 6. He is the team leader in the touchdown category. As we see there, he shows why with that big play. He just gets behind the defense. That's got to be on CUC. Clearly somebody lost that assignment, and that allowed Seibens to take it all the way to the house. So Velasquez will get set for another point after attempt. He is 2 for 2 so far. After all the whistles and flags cleaned up, Eagles get the whistle to go ahead, and now we get another stoppage. You can see Velasquez throw his arms up. He's not happy, as Coach Hankins now coming out to have a chat with the head official, as well as Bo Flowers, defensive coordinator of CUC. You see he's clearly not happy about something. And Coach Hankins for CUC wrapping up his first season as head coach, hired in February of this year, was previously the OC and quarterback coach, and spent some time at Aurora before coming to CUC in 2022 in that assistant role. And, you know, even though, we'll probably talk about this as we get close to the game as well, and even though the record might not have been vastly improved over last year, I mean, they did pick up one more win as of now. They could pick up 2 more wins at the most. I mean, I think this is still a year of positive growth from this team, as the extra point is up and it is good. The defense might have taken a step back just because of how young it is, but the offense has looked greatly improved over what we've seen in the past for this Cougar squad, as we can take a look at the touchdown replay now.
And again, it's just the secondary, they see the screen formation and they just sell out. The entire secondary sells out on the screen. Whenever you run a screen, you always have 1 or 2 receivers who go streaking down the field, just, you know, pull the secondary off. Maybe if the secondary sells out on the screen and leaves no one deep, you can throw to them. That almost never happens. The Cougars let it happen. You have to be aware of those players who are running back. Alex Sidens is not a small player. He is noticeable, and it's just a mistake you can't make from the secondary, and it's a costly one for the Cougars, but it has been what Benedictine has been setting up all day with those short plays. If you keep doing those short plays, you're going to code the defense to expect those short plays every time. So when you do go for the big plays, it is so much easier to catch the defense off guard.
Well, that's what they do there. Wojciechowski throwing touchdown pass number 3 of the afternoon. Reminder, he came into the game with 8 touchdown passes, and he's already up that number by 3, so we'll just have to keep counting. As this is a short kickoff, there is Henry Jones, and Jones is going to be all wrapped up, and now the referees blow the whistle. Number 23, that is Elijah Okanoran, as well as number 50, Ryan Kestig, into the backfield. In on the special teams play. So under 6 minutes to go. Let's see what the CUC offense can cook up here. They are very much in need of a score before this one really starts to get out of hand. As Benedictine, they've scored a touchdown on every drive so far. Once more, first play of the drive is a handoff to Joran Brown, and Benedictine sniffs that one out from the beginning. That was Tyler Walker, 2023 second team All-NAC and 2022 first team All-NAC player. And he gets in the backfield quickly to wrap up Joran Brown for a loss of 1.
And that's where the Cougars have been running their offense, like you mentioned, and it's expected now. That's what the Benedictine defense is expecting. So now you have to find a way to beat that. Use that expectation to your advantage.
Oh, they will just hand it off to Joran Brown again, and it'll be a very short gain. Gets it to where the original line of scrimmage was, so it'll be 3rd and 10. And a little confused about that play call. You see the rush doesn't work on first down, and you try it again, and once more, Benedictine, they're sniffing out that rush game. CUC, they now have 10 yards to go here on 3rd down. Likely have to go through the air. As you can see, Benedictine, they're bringing the pressure up front. Everybody is within about 7 yards of the line of scrimmage, as Colton Bosch immediately pressured, and he's still able to get a throw off Colton Bosch downfield, and it is caught! Randall Bills, oh my goodness, is brought down over the 20-yard line. CUC into the Benny red zone. Huge shot downfield. Randall Bills brings it in. And this CUC offense, for the first time today, they show some serious signs of life.
Bosch was under an incredible amount of pressure there. Escudero got through that line virtually untouched. And we've seen Bosch struggle with pressure this season. But that time, going against his momentum on the run, just letting it rip. Huge play.
He swings it out to the wing. There's Randall Bills again, and he is all tied up. That was Josh Coates, the defensive back, making his way forward. But yeah, that is just all arm strength from Colton Bosch. He was off balance. He was on the move, and he's able to just flick that ball downfield. And good job by Randall Bills. He has to stop a little bit. Didn't hit him in stride, and he's able to safely reel it in and seriously move CUC downfield as they set up in the red zone. Empty backfield now for Colton Bosch and the Cougs. Takes a snap, looks to his right. Now he scans to his left. Bosch has got to roll out, and he's going to throw this ball. It is incomplete. Brian Pritt able to get into the backfield and pressure Colton Bosch. And you mentioned Pritt, before the broadcast started today, Jonathan. This is a guy who first team All-NAC last season. He was first team All-NAC in 2022. He led the nation in sacks last season as well. Over 16 sacks for Brian Pritt. And this year, the senior, number 9 for Benedictine, has been very, very quiet. Just 2.5 sacks on the year, as he does cause some chaos there. We can talk about him more in a second. Colton Bosch, he's under pressure once again, swings it out, and that's Randall Bills trying to evade the tackler, but he was all wrapped up around the legs, brought down, and that'll bring up third down.
Jim Schrader is a defensive-minded head coach.
Bring up fourth down, pardon me.
It's what he does, and that play call, for any head coach, you'd almost never see that. It's crazy. Benedictine rushed 2 players at the line. You rush 2. Usually you'll see defenses rush 3. The Eagles just rushed 2, and they still got pressure on the QB in less than 4 seconds. With 9 players out on the field, you're going to block down the secondary, and you get the pressure. Perfect defensive play.
So CUC, they set up for a field goal, and that ball is short. I think it got tipped, as that ball seriously lost some juice off the foot of Ryan Auer, who now is 5-8 on the year from field goal territory, and that's just a killer blow to this CUC offense. You have the big desperation play downfield to Randall Bills, Colton Bosch all under pressure, able to flick it down there, and then you get stood up. You go, 3 and out from that point on, basically, and you miss the field goal, and after a huge play into the red zone, you come up shorthanded with nothing.
It's where we've seen the Cougars offense struggle when they're not performing well, is the consistent yardage. They can get big plays, but they've really struggled to follow up those big plays or those chunk plays with more yards to get the points on the board. It crops up there. That's a momentum killer. You had the opportunity to put yourself back in this game. Now you need the defense to come up big, something they've struggled to do today.
And Benedictine, they've made a change at quarterback. In now is number 5, Cooper Simmons Little. Simmons will loft it to Stevens, and good play there by the Cougars defense. Able to penetrate the line, and now flags fly. That was Jonathan Unks on the initial tackle. We'll have to see what the flag's about now. And another flag flies. See CUC players clapping. I think this one's going to go against Benedictine. One of the offensive linemen has his hands up. That is Teles Gosapolk, who was throwing the palms up, unhappy with the call. We'll get the call now. So, unsportsmanlike conduct called on the Eagles. As now we get another flag, this one in front of the Eagles bench. As Benedictine, they're all out of sorts on this play.
And now Jim Schrader's still getting into it with the official on the side. That's a weird second flag.
So Schrader getting his money's worth on this play. As he is on the field. He's right in front of the flag.
And I mean, I never caught what the initial unsportsmanlike conduct was.
Yeah, there was a big pile of bodies to bring Stevens down. And obviously the referees heard or saw something in that pile of humanity that they did not like. And now this second flag, it was thrown right in front of Coach Schrader. So you have a pretty good idea this one was on him as he is still jawing at the referees. There are two in front of him now as he is very unhappy with this play. That was caught on Bula Yang, number 77. So CUC, they keep backing up Benny by not doing anything. Maybe a little instigating going on, but CUC, they've been able to keep their noses clean. They haven't been caught on anything yet.
And that's
you can see Coach Schrader now having a talk with the head referee. He is not happy about this series of events. That is seriously going to stall out his offense.
I mean, that's a fair point from Coach Schrader. You don't see flags thrown on players on the sideline very often at all, and Yang was very much in the sideline, in the pack of players on the sideline.
As you can see how far this is backing up the Benny offense. It is third in the parking lot for Benedictine. They're almost in the red end zone. As it looks like Simons Little will set up just on the goal line. So at this point, you're probably more focused on just giving some breathing room to your punter. You got 3rd and 28 to go here. Benedictine has broken off some big plays so far. Simons Little, he's got to step forward, and he's going to fling this one, and it is caught. Sebastian Hill. So not only do they escape a safety, they are on CUC's side of the field. And if I could play a guessing game, I assume the 3 words that Benedictine bench is saying right now is ball don't lie. They move this ball downfield into plus territory.
That is just an absurd play from Cooper Simmons Little. There was a chance of a safety. The Cougars got pressure on the QB, but a great step up. And then it was a bit of a sidearm angle, too, as he moved up in the pocket, and he hit his man in stride. That is a perfect play, a perfect pass for Simmons Little, who, to his credit, hasn't been a standard backup QB. He's gotten a lot of playing time this year, but still.
Whistle will blow the play dead. There's a flag down.
And it looks like the signal from the referee is going to be a delay of game, likely on Benedictine.
The clocks do read 0. At least I do now. Was not keeping an eye on the play clocks when the play was starting. As the referees talk things over briefly. So the play clocks read 0, but I believe the referees said that they were off, basically. So now they're asking for the play clocks to be turned off, which that's a struggle we've had here at Concordia Stadium all season.
This is
So the referees, they'll just be keeping count in their head now. 1st and 10 for Benedictine. Simons Little, he's going to air this one out again, and it is going to be incomplete. And you see the Cougar back there on that play. Trying to get a beat on the number. I believe that is Lonnie Simpson. Yes, Lonnie Simpson, number 32, a converted wide receiver for CUC. If he turned around, he could have picked that ball off. That ball was behind him on the throw, and his defender was in front of it. The player who's defending, pardon me, was in front of him. If Lonnie Simpson turns around there and looks at the ball, he could have easily picked that one off, and that's where you might be seeing a little bit of the wide receiver in him, as here comes Stevens again. Another huge rush will bring up first down, and he is brought down right at or right before the 20-yard line, so this could be a red zone possession for Benedictine coming up. They're gonna rule him right before, about a yard short of the 20-yard line, as Stevens continues a hot game, and he's gonna have to wait to see if he can get another handoff here, as that is the end of the first quarter, as CUC coming in on senior day, and they have been punched in the mouth by the Eagles. Benedictine up 21-0. 15 minutes gone. We'll have to see how the Cougars respond when we return for second quarter action between the Cougars and the Eagles right here on the Cougar Sports Network. Back here on the Cougar Sports Network, second quarter action about to kick off between the Cougars and the Eagles. Peter Borkowski here on the Cougar Sports Network, joined by Jonathan Shear, as Eagles putting up 21 points in that first quarter, as Simons Little, he's going to go to the end zone, and it's dropped. Alex Simons was a yard away from touchdown number 2 on the day, and he just comes up with the stone hands, drops the ball, and that'll bring up second down and 10.
That is such a weird drop. Simons had his man Josh Smith beat. He's open. He's in the end zone. Perfect pass from Simmons Little. To his credit, he hit him right on the numbers, and you just drop it. I mean, Benedictine, they've had their way on offense, so they could be getting a bit comfortable, but still, you rarely ever see a drop like that.
And Simons Little, he's come in and performed extremely well, as he swings us out to Stevens. Stevens able to evade one tackler, and now it takes a pile to bring him down. Nothing gained, nothing lost on that play. Good job by Stevens just to get it back to the original line of scrimmage. So third down and 10 now for Benedictine. CUC trying to get their first stop on defense all afternoon. Stevens still in the backfield with Simons Little. Simons Little, a sophomore. So 2 sophomore QBs, as now we get some flags. Simons Little, I think, messed up the cadence. I think he got his own lineman to jump offside. Yep, false start on the Benedictine offense, and that'll back them up now.
So it's 15 yards on third down. The Eagles, actually their average per play is less than this, barely. They're averaging 14.6 yards per play right now. Every time we've seen them get in a long yardage situation, they've been able to get themselves out. This is the closest to their red zone they've been in a long yardage situation.
Third down and 15 for the Eagles, as now they stop. Again, they get the call from the sideline, see if they make any adjustments here. Not really anything other than Simons took a couple more steps out towards the far sideline, as Simons Little drops back And he finds Stevens Jr. Stevens, he's going to rush. He hurdles a man before falling. And that will move the chains. There is a flag. It was kind of hard to see because it was thrown right at a Cougar. So the yellows blending in together. We'll have to see, as I think this might be on Benny. The yard marker has not moved. The offense is backing up. Illegal block in the back is called. And so Benny shoots himself in the foot again. He'll have to go for 3rd and long once more.
It's like this offense is choosing to play on hard mode today so far. I mean, they're giving themselves a tough time with mistakes, with penalties. Funnily enough, they actually do still move up on that play. It is 3rd and shorter now because it's a spot foul, 10 yards from the spot.
Subtracted right.
Somehow net positive for the Eagles.
Well, we'll see what they can do here now on 3rd and about 7 as they are set up on the left hash. Simons Little has Stevens to his left. There is the check-in with the sideline. You got that synchronized look on Locke. Everybody looking at the same time. And neat to see as Stevens does switch sides. Simons Little drops back. He's got immediate pressure as he looks for the end zone and finds a man in the end zone. Great catch from Alex Corbett. There were multiple yellow jerseys in the vicinity, and Corbett comes away with the catch and a touchdown as it is now 27-0 in favor of Benny, bringing out the point after unit.
Great touch and a great throw. Some beautiful touch off the release of Simons Little. Great pass.
20-yard completion from Simons Little to Corbett, as Corbett, who came in today as the receiving leader for Benedictine, he picks up touchdown number 2 on the season. Meanwhile, Velasquez hits the extra point, as it is now a 28-0 ball game in favor of the visitors from Lyle, trying to play spoiler for the Cougars on Senior Day. So far, so good for the team in white and red.
And again, Simons Little has been so accurate today. He's under pressure on this play, and he puts it right on the money for Corbett, right where no one else can get to it. Perfect place, perfect touch, too. He doesn't throw it too hard. He throws it so there's time for Corbett to get to it. And I think that's been the thing that stood out the most from Simons Little coming into this game has been his accuracy. When he's asked to throw the ball, he has been on the money. He's had a touchdown pass that was on the numbers, dropped, got a touchdown pass there that was, again, a perfectly accurate pass. This team, they run a 2 QB system. They have all season, and you can kind of see why. Neither QB really standing out as substantially better than the other.
Well, Benny, kind of funny. We came in today was, the rush game is what carries them. The rush game is the best part of their offense. Rush, rush, rush. So far today, all the touchdowns have come through the air. Wojciechowski at 207 yards, 3 touchdowns on 5 passing attempts, mind you. 4 completions, so 75% of his completions went for a TD. Meanwhile, Simons Little, 4 attempts, 3 completions, 36 yards, but he throws a touchdown in there.
And that one incompletion is a drop. His QBs have been playing very, very well today.
And these are 2 QBs who, like we said, was not a strength coming into today. Wojciechowski came into the game 9 touchdowns to 8 interceptions. Simons Little 6 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. So these are 2 QBs who they kind of struggled. Both of them have an efficiency level under 130. Like they were not having a good year coming into River Forest today, but this has so far been a season high for both of these quarterbacks in terms of quality of play. As all wrapped up in the backfield is Colton Bosch. And that's going to be a major loss for CUC.
This is the first time he's been sacked today, but on the season, Colton Bosch has gotten pretty friendly with the turf. That's his 38th sack taken this season. That's a remarkably high number.
That is the most allowed by in the conference. So this is a Cougars team who, again, they've kind of struggled offensive line-wise. They have a couple of seniors who are honored today, and C.J. Morris, Christian Duran. Those guys are on the left side. Jalen Franklin on the right side, a senior as well, I should mention. But in terms of your center, in terms of that rightmost offensive lineman, they got nothing, as the Cougars do have a change in QB now. Senior Troy Prattley coming into the game. He swings it out to Randall Bills, who is wrapped up and pushed out for nothing. So the Cougars trying to go with a different look here with Troy Prattley. And as I say that, he is running off the field. It is a switch. Colton Bosch back on. So we'll have to wait to talk some more about Troy Prattley. We do see him a fair amount throughout these games, as the Cougars like the different look he brings to the offense. But they put in Colton Bosch again. They got to go downfield. Bosch looking plenty of time, and he finds Jace Levi. They're going to say incomplete pass. That was nowhere near a first down either, as that was just past the original line of scrimmage. So on 4th and long, the incomplete pass will lead to another CUC punt.
I mean, you mentioned it. That play just wouldn't have been far enough for a first down anyways. I mean, there was enough time for that play to develop. Bosch did have good pass blocking, but the secondary coverage, just the looks weren't open that Bosch was looking for to get that deep play, to get those 20 yards back. So he tried to settle for the 10, 15-yarder, hope something can happen. It's underthrown. That's something we have seen Bosch struggle with in those mid-range passes.
Alex Corbett, he's going to return this one off the bounce. And Alex Corbett, what a return out of nothing. He is still on his feet, and Alex Corbett, he basically dodges the entire Cougars special teams, and he is into the end zone for a touchdown. A defensive team breakdown. No one able to tackle Corbett. And number 11 in white just adds to the pain of CUC, as it is going to be 34-0, 12:06 left to go here in the first half.
And returns for touchdowns have not been a hot commodity in the NAC this season. No kick returns for a touchdown, only one punt return for a touchdown in the conference this season, coming courtesy of Lakeland. You can make it too. Benedictine picking up that one.
And now we see a flag. It's on CUC. I mean, it's one of those plays. You could take multiple screenshots throughout that play, and you would say, oh, that guy's dead to rights. There were multiple Cougars, and Alex Corbett, I mean, he's 5'10", 175, kind of a shifty player, as you can see the play on your screen. He's just able to dip and dive his way through every CUC tackler.
And it's not great to say, but it feels as if the Cougars coverage team was a bit lazy on the coverage there, because you don't expect the returner to run that ball out. But Corbett sees that they're not really lining him up. They're not preparing to hit him. So he takes it. He has that initial gap. And from there, this Cougars coverage team is just, oh, crap. How are we going to bring this guy down? It's such a short field. The blocking is everywhere. So you're just constantly ducking and weaving into those small gaps. And you find your way eventually to the end zone. Again, a mistake on coverage that you just can't have from this Cougars special teams. And Benedictine, again, doing a great job of exploiting those mistakes that the Cougars make.
Corbett coming into today was third in the conference in returning yards on punts with 96. And he's going to add that total with that punt return for a touchdown. So the silver lining, I guess, is that CUC does get the ball right back on offense. They can try to keep putting this offensive team together and find some kind of momentum, as they are down by 35, 12:06 to play here in the first half. They need to find something offensively. I mean, this game is already out of hand, but just adds to the misery when you cannot even find the end zone yourself. Colton Bosch puts Randall Bills in motion, fakes the handoff, now flips it to Wes Jackson, who will get a yard or so on the play. nice play design from CUC just doesn't really work out in their favor.
And I think something to note with his Benedictine defense, up until the point where they got to conference play, and there's some good teams in this conference, Aurora, St. Norbert's, they were a top 50 defense in the country. This is not just a good defense, it's a very good defense. And it's going up against the Cougars offense that is good, not great. And you seem to see this defense winning that battle.
Colin Bosch will keep this one himself. He'll gain 3 yards on the play. Nothing spectacular.
The Cougars are trying a lot of misdirection now. A lot of fake handoffs, fake tosses, lots of pre-snap motion, lots of motion in play. And none of it's working. They're not getting the Eagles to bite on anything. It's great patience on Benedictine's part, but the Cougars, they're trying ways to fix it, but they just can't find something that works yet.
3rd and manageable for Bosch and the CUC offense. 4 yards to go to a first down as Bosch will quickly swing that out. Randall Bills, he's got to make something happen. He's brought down. Is it enough? And they're going to say yes. Randall Bills just crossing the first down marker, as he had 2 tacklers in front of him, able to stay on his feet long enough for a first down. And with less than 11 minutes to go here in the first half, CUC picks up first down number 3 on the afternoon. Their first of the second quarter.
Like you said, that's their 3rd first down. They've gotten other first downs. That's the first one where it's really been a grinded first down. The other 2 first downs, 50-yard pass play, 10-yard rush. That's the first time they've grinded out 4 yards, 5 yards, 4 yards, 5 yards, 4 yards, 5 yards.
Right. And this is where the CUC offense really succeeded early in the year, was that ability to take up a lot of time going downfield. This was never a big play type of offense. Obviously, as we saw with Randall Bills earlier in this game, they're capable of it. But this was always a team. We're going to take 4 yards, 6 yards. Yes, we'll bust out a 15-yard rush, but then we'll go back to our 4-yard, 3-yard, whatever it is, gain. And as of right now, they're taking up 30 minutes and 48 seconds of time of possession per game. That is 4th best in the conference. As Colton Bosch, he's going to roll out. He's going to tuck the ball and keep it to himself. Heads out of bounds to protect himself as he gains 4 and brings up 3rd down for CUC.
And then credit to the defensive play calling from head coach Jim Schrader. He's balancing these defensive looks so well. Rushing 4, rushing 5. He rushed 3 there. Didn't ultimately get pressure on the QB. Colton Bosch ran because he felt he would eventually get pressured, and there's no one open because you have more people back in the secondary. Schrader is doing a great job of mixing it up and preventing the Cougars from passing when they want to pass and running when they want to run.
And CUC not able to get much on that play. That'll bring up 4th down. They're on their own 40, and the offense is staying out for now. See if this will be a play or not, or if they're trying to draw them off sides, or if they do in fact go for it. It is 4th and 6. They do snap at a low snap. Colton Bosch looking, slings it, and it is almost picked off.
That should have been picked off.
Josh Coates had it in his grasp, and he's not able to reel it in. Doesn't matter, as it is a turnover on downs, but still, Josh Coates that close to an interception, and on the year, that would have been interception number 3 for Josh Coates. He does lead the Benedictine Eagles in that category already with 2.
That's just a really interesting pass play from Colton Bosch, who is a gunslinger. One of his strengths is his strong arm. He can bullet those passes to his receivers. He can get distance on it. And that pass, Jace Levi actually had a moment where he was open, but it was a weak ball. It took forever to get to the targeted area, and Josh Coates had so much time that not only was he able to get and deflect it, he was able to set himself up in front of Jace Levi. You don't see a weak pass like that often from Bosch.
Simons Little, he's going to keep this himself, and he's going to find some room to run. Simons Little turns the corner, still on his feet, and he's pushed out of bounds. Forcing him out was Isaac Young. But Simons Little, big play using his feet this time. First time we've seen either team's quarterback take off for a big rush. And that's kind of been an issue all year for CUC is the QB rush. I mean, obviously the big one was Robbie Michael with Lakeland, but Robbie Michael's such a unique animal in terms of his offensive capabilities. But even other quarterbacks who might not have a ton of rushing yards, they are able to peel off big runs against this CUC defense as Blake Shoddy shrugs off a tackler. Blake Shoddy, off 5'4" of him, shrugs off a Cougar defender who's still working his way back up to his feet. That is Josh Smith, the freshman. And Blake Shoddy said, sit down and let me just plow through you here. That is a senior in Shoddy going up against a freshman. And I know he's 5'4", and you think, oh, 5'4", like he's a short guy. What's he doing out there on the football field? But guys like that, especially guys who are 200 pounds and very strong, those guys are hard to tackle because their center of gravity is so low to the ground. You really have to get low. If you try to go over him like Smith did there, he's just going to pop up into you. And here is Stevens now, the other side of the dual-headed rushing monster that is Benedictine's backfield. And finds his way into the end zone. First rushing touchdown of the day for either squad. And that makes it 41-0, 8:16 to go here in the first half.
That's a perfectly executed play, and we'll show you that replay in a moment. You'll get to see that play again. You don't see a running back get untouched from that distance on that kind of a play very often. The PAT is good, but again, this is a run play. This is a run up the middle. It's a counter. You have the line go one way, you have the back go one way, but eventually your back's going to cut back to the opposite side from where you handed it off. In this case, Stevens, he's coming from the left. He's starting on the left here. It's going to be a handoff. He's going to go to the left as well, but then he's going to cut right as everyone goes left. And again, they got the Cougars to bite, and that defense sells out towards that sideline, and they're not expecting Stevens to come back to the middle, wide open lane, just jogging those last few yards into the end zone.
So with 8:16 to play here in the first 30, it is 42-0 in favor of Benedictine. And you look at Benedictine's scores so far this season, this ties their highest score of the year, a 42-0 shutout at Eureka. That was on October 26th. And so they've already tied their season high in points scored. And we still have half of the second quarter to play as this kickoff will land in the hands of Jace Levi. Levi going side to side, breaks a couple tacklers. Decent return there out of Jace Levi. He had some steam behind him. CUC's offense in desperate need of some points. Even though this game continues to slip further and further out of CUC's control, this is still the point. You're like, well, the offense can put up points. We know that. If we can score here and the defense can pull it together, this game isn't over yet. I know it's a big hill to climb, but it all starts with you need to get some points on the board, which CUC's offense clearly has not been able to do today. Bosch looking, he's going to roll out to his left, and Bosch, he's going to tuck it as he's pushed out. That'll be a loss, and I don't think he realized that he had a little more room to throw.
And that actually will also go down as a sack.
Yeah, he was technically tackled in the backfield with the ball. Or technically tackled. He was pushed out.
So Jesse Escudero will pick up the sack on that. He was the last player to push Bosch out of bounds. He was going out anyways. And
it's 2nd and 14 now. Troy Prattley into the game for CUC. Prattley, the senior out of St. Joseph, Michigan. He's going to keep this himself, and he is tied up and brought down. About 3 Eagles in on that play as now the Cougars bring in Bosch and his arm. They know that they need 16 or so yards on this play, up 16 exactly to a first down.
For a team that's struggled to create big plays, finding yourself in a 3rd and long situation is tough. I mean, now you're running that 4 receiver set.
Snap to Bosch, empty backfield. He's got a man on him already, and he throws that one well short of the intended receiver, which was Devin Bledsoe. Breaching the offensive line for Benedictine was Dawson Piper, the sophomore. As that'll bring up 4th down, and it'll bring up Dennis Vanderplow.
Last time we saw Vanderplow punt, it was a punt return touchdown. But, I mean, you go back to that punt return touchdown. We talked about the coverage. The punt from Vanderplow was also not great either. It was vertical. It took a weird landing. It didn't have the air it needed.
As this ball hits the player on the bounce, that was Daniel Chunowski, pardon me. He tried to jump over the ball, and it bounced up right into his undercarriage, and that downed it. Luckily, Benedictine was able to hop on it before CUC could do anything. So 7:02 left now, as Benedictine on top of CUC by 42.
Chugnaski, actually, who recovered that himself. It bounced right off of his bottom and right underneath him, so he literally just had to turn and fall on top of it. And he's lucky because that's a mistake you're never going to want to make again. You're not the return man. You're not supposed to be that close to the ball when it lands. Luckily, no harm, no foul.
Snap here. Simons Little finds an easy target in Bryce Thurman, who is roughed out by Isaac Young. There's a flag, however, on the other side of the field, on the far side.
Huh. The Eagles tagged with an ineligible man down field penalty. It looks like it's over on Sebastian Hill, a receiver, which means he made a mistake when lining up.
So the Eagles hurt themselves. CUC catching a bit of a break, as it'll now be 1st and 15. Replay of 1st down.
But again, for a team averaging 14.5 yards per play, a 15-yard 1st down seems like light work.
Simons Little looking, and his blind side bites him, as that is Avery Hearns coming in and right behind Simons Little. He had no chance of seeing Avery Hearns. That'll be CUC their first sack of the afternoon, and that's going to back up Benedictine even more. 2nd and 21, the yardage now.
Just untouched to the backfield. Really worked away. The blocker, Gianni Salbego, number 68, the senior. The backup left tackle behind Bula Yang.
Handoff to Shoddy, as Shoddy does good work making up most of that lost yardage. He falls about a yard short of the first line of scrimmage, and it'll be 3rd and 12 now for Benedictine. See if CUC can finally get a stop on this Benedictine offense. It has been an impossible task so far for the Cougars. Benedictine finding the end zone on every drive so far. 5:15 to play here in the first half. Simons Little, and he's in trouble. He's dancing around as he lets this one fly, and it is incomplete. Benedictine and Alex Corbett wanting a flag, but that ball was nowhere in his vicinity. And for the first time today, the Cougars, they've forced 4th down, and that'll bring out the special teams unit for Benedictine.
J.J. Wise, the freshman, he's been sitting over there. He has done Really, not really much of anything today. He hasn't gotten to kick at all. Now he'll get that chance with a big lead, too. So
Weiss, not a particularly strong punter either, 35.1 yards per punt. His longest is a 65-yarder, however, and he has planted 4 of his 17 punts within the 20-yard line. Unlikely to happen here, as he's going to be punting. And he's currently standing on the 30-yard line. Takes a couple steps forward. Punt is off, and he shanks that one. Caught the side of it, as it is going to roll out right before the CUC 30. So decent field position coming up for CUC as their defense clutches up and gets their first stop of the day. But let's take a break and talk more about one of the other CUC seniors, Devin Bledsoe, who's going to be trotting out to the field, number 3, a native of St. Charles, Missouri. And he's played in 28 games in his career for the Cougars, has 766 receiving yards, going to graduate with a degree in health sciences, and he plans to pursue grad school or take a gap year to reflect more about his next steps after today's game. So Devin Bledsoe, he's been a target here at CUC for all 4 years, the tallest receiver out there for the Cougs at 6'3". He's a 50-50 ball machine, and he's ending his career with a nice stat sheet, as good play here from Colton Bosch, steps up and finds Wes Jackson for a first down.
You know, we can see that out of Bosch occasionally. Make those moves in the pocket, step up, and that was a flip. He threw it over 2 defenders between him and the target. So good play from Bosch.
1st and 10 as Bosch stepping back. He's looking, and now he's got to roll out. Pritt in hot pursuit, and he finds Randall Bills. Bills evades one tackler and then falls backwards. So all of that for a gain of 4. But good job by Bosch to evade the pressure, and good job by Randall Bills to help out his quarterback as well. Come back, be a receiving option for him. 2nd down and 6 now for the Cougars. Empty backfield for Colton Bosch, looking, and he finds Wes Jackson, who drops it. A little too much sauce on that pass. It was in front of Wes Jackson, so he couldn't get his body in front of it, and it bounces off his hands and down. And that'll bring up 3rd down and 6.
You see the Cougars defense getting up off the bench after their talk with DC, Bo Flowers. They're trying to get loud. They're trying to get the sideline to get loud on the 3rd and mid-range.
Third down and 6, and Benedictine brings the pressure, and that ball off the fingertips of Manuel Mendoza. He was all wrapped up. Colton Bosch had pressure in his face immediately, and that'll bring up 4th and 6, and I think CUC's going to go for it. I haven't seen any signs of the punt unit yet. Colton Bosch receiving the signs from head coach Chase Hankins, so they will at least line up, see if they get the play off, or if this is a ploy to draw Benedictine offsides.
And it's 6 yards out from the first down marker, so offsides, you'd still be on 4th down.
They will go for it immediately, and Wes Jackson bounces off his chest, and that ball spent a decent chunk of time in the air. Jackson couldn't collect it, and neither could the defender in the vicinity. That was Walker Schweistis, sophomore defensive back out of Aurora, Illinois, so traveling to Benedictine out of enemy territory. And so another turnover on down, CUC's 2nd of the day. And that'll bring up 1st and 10 on the 50-yard line for the Eagles, who trot back out Simmons, Little, and Blake Shoddy will set up in the backfield with them. 3:45 to go here in the first half. Simmons Little hands it off to Shoddy, and Shoddy, he's dragging the team with him. Oh my goodness, Blake Shoddy is finally brought down. That's what we like to call weight room, as Blake Shoddy, he took the whole team with him. That is a A lot of running back and 5 feet 4 inches of frame, as he is a first down and some more.
You talk a lot about yards after contact. How about yards with contact? Quite literally dragging multiple men on his back the entire way. Shoddy.
And he'll get another, and he'll dive forward. Won't be a first down. Cuts the distance in half. Yeah, and again, I mentioned it, but that's what you get with the shorter player like Shoddy. You can see all the Cougars, they were trying to wrap him up with around the shoulders, but when he's already lower to the ground because of his height, you can keep wrapping up his shoulders. He's just going to keep powering through with his legs, and that's exactly what he did. As tough it might be for some of these taller defenders up front for CUC, they really got to get low, wrap him up around the hips, wrap him up around the legs.
That's something that they actually have struggled with on the season is tackling, not struggling with the tackling on that play.
That was an aggressive play there from Marvin Rushing, trying to make an impact on his senior day, and he just slammed his man to the ground. Third and 7 now. And Benedictine's going to take this down to the 2-minute warning. Clock reads 1:59. Should read 2 minutes, which they reset it, and it will. So the teams will take a break. Benedictine, they got third down as they have 7 yards to go to the first down. Let's take a break and talk about another one of the Cougar seniors being honored today. Let's talk about number 5, Troy Pratley. We've seen him in the game a couple of times from St. Joseph, Michigan. 38 games he has played as a Cougar. A lot of those games as the primary quarterback. 1,745 passing yards. He's also a serious rush threat out of the quarterback position for CUC, and he was a all-NAC honorable mention last year as a quarterback, punter, and defensive back. So Swiss Army knife, Troy Pratley getting the recognition he deserved last season. He will graduate with a degree in secondary education with a minor in sports management, and he plans to head home to Michigan to be a middle school teacher and high school football coach with his father and grandfather. So the Pratley family, they are the coaches at St. Joseph, which is where Troy played high school football. So Troy playing high school football under his father, and now hopefully going back to coach with him as well. Get back to the high school program that he came out of to arrive here at CUC, where he's had a very productive and eventful 4 years as a little bit of everything for CUC. So 2 minutes to go here. Benedictine sets up. Simons Little has a distance to go, 7 yards to be exact. And Simons Little, I don't think he knew where Blake Shoddy was. He turned to his left as now he's brought down. Turned to his left for a handoff and was kind of a uh-oh moment as Blake Shoddy was to his right. And if that was a fake, I will say bold move, faking the handoff to nobody. And so Simons Little scrambles, doesn't get much, but they are going to go for it on 4th down.
There's no real negative going for it on 4th down.
Less than 90 seconds to play here in the first half. 4th and manageable for Benedictine. It's a team who's been breaking off big plays all day long. They don't need a big play here. As now we're going to take a stoppage. The scoreboard is off. As now it's back up. So the digital scoreboard here at CUC, which was installed just a few years ago, shutting off momentarily. Back on. 1:09 left to go here in the first half. See if Benny can convert. They will go through the air. CUC brings the pressure, and that ball off the hands of Sebastian Hill. And that'll be a turnover on downs, and CUC, they'll get ready for a 55-second drill. And again, I know it's a 42-point lead, but this is kind of your chance right now. You can have a 14-point swing, 16 points if you really want to go for it, but a 14-point swing here if you get a touchdown in these next 55. And then CUC, they do get the ball back after halftime, so they have a chance to make up some ground here, but they got to move down the field in a hurry, which has been a point of struggle all afternoon versus Benny.
Yeah, to get it done, you're going to need a big play. The only big play we've seen from the Cougars today was unscripted. It was a makeshift play out of Colton Bosch. It was a great play, but the Cougars need to find ways to create those on a consistent basis this late in the half.
60 seconds on the clock. They reset it to 1 minute on the dot. So CUC now gets set for a 1 minute drill. Empty backfield. Bosch finds Devin Bledsoe, senior's first reception of the day, brought down after the first down marker. But Benny, you know that they're going to be okay with those. CC hurrying up here. They have 2 timeouts remaining. And flag, and that'll blow the play dead. We'll have to see who this goes on. Should be CUC penalty. You can see him talking with Coach Hankins. CUC's offensive line did back up. False start on the offense, so that's going to hurt. And Concordia will now use a timeout.
And this late in the half, in the 1 minute drill, a false start is a killer. That can kill the whole drive. You lose 5 yards. All that time you ran off the clock trying to hurry up to the line was for nothing. And now you see the Cougars calling a timeout to try and figure out what are they going to do coming off of that penalty. You want to save those timeouts for when you're in enemy territory, not when you're on your own side, especially not after a penalty.
So 38 seconds remain in the first half as the sun is starting to shine a little bit here at Concordia Stadium. See if it can bring some goodwills towards the Cougars, who have been struggling up to this point on the offensive side of the ball. On both sides of the ball, I should say, but they need some help offensively now. Colton Bosch sending Wes Jackson over. And now he's looking, swings it out. Here's Devin Bledsoe. See what he can do after the catch. Bledsoe, he's pushed out of bounds. Nice gain by Devin Bledsoe, but again, Benedictine, they're just worried about that deep shot right now. They'll give up chunk plays like that all day.
It does set up second and short, so you do have a couple more options here. You can run that short pass to the sideline to get the first down, or you could go for the deep shot right here. So you have more options with second and short.
You still have a timeout on the board as well for Coach Hankins. Bosch, he's got to evade, and he won't be able to. There's Brian Pritt. Looking like vintage Brian Pritt so far this afternoon. Picks up the sack. And that's going to force Coach Hankins to use his final timeout.
You'd have to think coming off of this play, it's going to be the deep shot. But that Brian Pritt sack, you mentioned it, Peter. Vintage Brian Pritt. And you can kind of see what made him a first-team All-American last season. He was just powered through Christian Duran. He was with his blocker the whole way, just pushed Duran all the way up to and past Bosch, and then just brought him down. He was touched the whole way. It didn't slow him down at all. He takes on his man and brings down the QB immediately. So he still has that in him. He just hasn't been able to do it on a consistent basis this season, which probably has been frustrating from his angle. But in the season finale, does come up big there.
Brian Pritt, 6'2", 240. He is a big man up front on that defensive end. And see if Benny can get another stop here. 3rd and 14 for the Cougars. 22 seconds left in the first half. They do not have a timeout remaining. They do line up with Booba Henson in the backfield. Here's the snap. Bosch, he's looking for Henson and instead throws over him, and that ball tipped. Good play there out of the defensive back, Jesse Escudero, the linebacker, Jesse Escudero.
Escudero, he was jumping up and down afterwards. You can tell he kind of wanted that pick. He feels like he could have had it, and he absolutely could have if he had played one or two steps further back.
So with 14 seconds left, CUC will bring out the punt unit as they're making some late changes on the personnel. Everyone's a little out of sorts.
It's not even late adjustments. It's your long snapper, your starting one, Matt Godar, coming in very late.
And here is the punt. Vanderplow, a decent distance. Alex Corbett's going to let this one roll. And eating turf was Derek Porter. Turf monster eating him up. As with 4 seconds left, Benedictine will likely kneel this one out. Well, who knows, the way they've been playing, a shot downfield probably isn't the worst idea right now. CUC will get the ball after half as Benny rushes out with Simons Little at the helm. And he's going to set up for a knee. Snap, knee, and that'll do it for the first half. Yes, we are just done with the first half as Benedictine leads CUC 42-0. And CUC, they're going to need some major adjustments at halftime to just make this a competitive game. So we'll see what Coach Hankins and his coaching staff can draw up for the final 30 minutes of action in the 2024 CUC football season. We're going to have all that action for you and more when we're back here on the Cougar Sports Network in about 20 minutes.
CUC nursing student and choose to stand tall for healing at a university that places Christ at the center and embraces teaching students to live a life fulfilled by purpose and meaning. Concordia University Chicago's new Bachelor of Science in Nursing degree is an innovative and rigorous 4-year program that will prepare you to rise to the daily challenges of a rewarding nursing career and serve a greater cause. Our newly built modern simulation center features 4 distinct spaces, a skills attainment lab, multi-specialty intensive care spaces, a health assessment learning center, and a simulated home environment. Due to our close proximity to many world-class teaching hospitals, CUC's clinical rotations offer an abundance of diverse and real-world experiences. Learn more about earning your BSN at a Christ-centered university today.
Hey, I'm Monica here at Concordia University Chicago, and we're here outside of Concordia Hall. Concordia Hall is the university's newest residence hall, right on the edge of campus, perfect for students who want to explore the nearby downtown of Oak Park and River Forest. The flexible suite-style living in fully furnished bedrooms lets students choose what works best for them. Every floor is complete with a community lounge and full common kitchen, with a kitchenette, microwave, sink, and refrigerator. The first floor offers the Victory Lounge, connecting to 2 additional residence halls, with no shortage of ways to relax. You're also right next to an open, outdoor plaza better known as Victory Lane.
So now we're here in Concordia Hall's suite style dorm room, and this is a really nice place to just hang out and chill. And since it's so big, there's plenty of room to spread out and do your homework and just relax. So now making our way into one of the bedrooms, there's plenty of space in this room for you and your roommate. A lot of times students will move the desks so that they've got their separate study space, but my roommate and I, we get along really well, so we can just work together here in the same space. Sometimes I like doing art as well, as you can see by the painting here. It's a 16 by 10 feet space, and most rooms on campus are 10 by 12 feet, so it's really nice to have a little extra space to work with here in Concordia Hall. So this hall is super close to the chapel and the Kennedy Community Center, which has the new Crossroads Dining Hall, so the location is super convenient. And I really love the city scene too. The location here is the closest on campus to the Oak Park River Forest downtown area, which has a ton of great stores and restaurants. Speaking of the city scene, I adore the view from this lounge because you can see the Chicago skyline right there.
Concordia Hall at Concordia University, Chicago.
Down through the ages, God has called and equipped people to make a real difference in the lives of others. To lead, to heal, to stand tall. For 160 years, Concordia University Chicago has been preparing the next generation of leaders with the wisdom, faith, and values to make an impact in the world, to share the gifts God gave them and answer the call to a life fulfilled by purpose and truth, to be living examples of what it means to live with Christ at the center as we serve others. Because at CUC, we don't run away from adversity, we go towards it. We don't shrink from our faith, we lead with it. We are teachers, caregivers and musicians, scientists, pastors and business leaders, unshakable pillars of strength and integrity who serve a cause greater than ourselves. And the world needs us now more than ever. Learn how a degree from Concordia University Chicago can help you be the pillar the world needs to stand for something greater. The only question is, are you ready to stand tall?
Back here on the Cougar Sports Network, about 90 seconds away from the second half kicking off between your Concordia University Chicago Cougars and the visiting Eagles of Benedictine University. Senior day here at CUC, the 2024 season finale. And Jonathan, it's been all Benny here today. 42-0 lead for the visiting Eagles out of Lisle, Illinois. Let's go over some of the team stats and player stats before we head back into the action. First for Benedictine, 364 total yards of offense, 242 of those being passing yards, and 123 being on the ground. In terms of the passing numbers, Cooper Simons Little, he came in and about right around the halfway point of the first half, 35 yards on 4 completions. He does have a touchdown, but he's looked very sharp for Benedictine. Meanwhile, Evan Wydajewski, he started the game 4 for 5 with 207 yards and 3 touchdowns. As he was a very, very efficient, a QB rating of 625.8. That is pretty darn hard to beat. Rushing-wise, it's been Dino Stevens, 7 attempts for 60 yards and a touchdown. Blake Shoddy also doing what he usually does, 9 attempts for 51 yards. No touchdowns for him yet. And receiving-wise, 3 players over 50 yards receiving. Sebastian Hill, Stevens, and then Dino Stevens with 82 receiving yards thanks to a long of 66. That was the first score of the day. Touchdowns for Stevens, Corbett, and Moore. As for CUC, things not going so hot. 107 total yards of offense, 100 of which were pass yards, 7 rushing yards. Colton Bosch, 9 for 20, 102 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. And Troy Prattley, 1 for 1 at -2 yards on that lone completion. Rushing-wise, Jordan Brown, the only CUC rusher with a positive net yardage, 8 attempts for 24 yards. And receiving-wise, it's been Randall Bill, 6 receptions for 61 yards, including a long of 59. Devin Bledsoe and Wes Jackson also in double digits in the receiving yards category. But Jonathan, you got 30 minutes left of football here, and obviously, the way CUC's offense has shown it can score in the past, this isn't an outlandish possibility of a comeback, but it's starting to slip away more and more as the clock winds down. So if you're the Cougars, you're Coach Hankins in that halftime locker room, what really is the goal here for you coming into this second half, knowing, hey, we got 30 minutes until this season, this iteration of CUC football is done, a thing of the past?
They can't really focus on winning. Mm-hmm. That can't be the mindset coming into this second half because it's such a far goal. If you set that as the goal, it's going to beat you because you're going to fail on one drive. You're only going to get 7 points, and you're still down 5 possessions, and it's crushing. The goal is to be competitive, win the second half. Maybe you don't win the game, but if you win the second half against Benedictine, that's a positive note. A lot of these guys are young. A lot of these guys will be coming back next year. So for the players, you want to have a good moment before you come back next year. Show a bit more of what you can do in game speed because the next time you'll be in game action isn't until next August. So take advantage of those last 30 minutes on the field. Make some big plays. Have some good moments. End on as high of a note as you can with what you have on the table right now.
Bosch, a short little check down to Joran Brown, who turns it into a first down after a yards after catch play. The play clocks are back on the field. Should mention that. They were out for most of that first half. So who knows? Maybe the play clock's coming back on can be an omen of good future for CUC as they're trying to get back in this one, just get some points on the board. Closest they have come. They were in the red zone after that big Randall Bills completion, and they weren't able to get into the end zone, but they did have a field goal attempt, which was no good, as here's Devin Bledsoe across the middle. And, Bledsoe playing in his final game as a Cougar here, something I've always kind of wondered about Devin Bledsoe is, why isn't he used a bit more? Because he is that tall target across the middle of the field. Now, he is used fairly often. It's not like he's a forgotten receiver, but he is, especially for a young quarterback like Colton Bosch, a guy like Devin Bledsoe coming across the middle like he did there, that can be so helpful for a young quarterback's development.
Absolutely, and in a game like this, it's kind of what you need. You need that consistent 10-yard passing target to start getting quick points.
Second down now for CUC. As the rush by Colton Bosch picks up about 2 yards on the play.
Something to note on the rushing game, we talked coming into this game about how much it's struggled in the last few games. Hasn't cracked 40 yards on net rushing yards since this game, the homecoming game against Rockford. And the Cougars aren't on track for that yet today either. And they'll be further away from that still with another loss. After that play, a net 7 positive yards on the ground for the Cougars. This team's offense has struggled, but the rushing has really struggled.
3rd and 9 now for CUC. See what they can do here. They're on their own 48. And you can see Benedictine looks like they're bringing the pressure. Now they jump back, but still, there's Brian Pritt. Oh my goodness, with authority. Slams Colton Bosch down. That'll be sack number 2 on the day for Pritt. And he is just a half a sack from matching his season total coming into today at 2.5 in a very much a down year for Brian Pritt in the sack category. And he's up to 4.5 now as the CUC Cougars bringing out the punter, Dennis Vanderplow. About 12 minutes to go here in the third quarter.
And that sack is just, you got to wonder what the offensive line was thinking at the start of that, because Pritt's through untouched. That is not a screenplay. It's not any sort of quick pass. That's supposed to be a developing play, and you let an edge rusher just charge straight through, not even with a cut off the line, straight to your quarterback. Again, mistakes on the offensive line. We've seen it throughout the year. Inconsistency with the blocking, still cropping up in the season finale.
So you see defense, they'll come back out. They got their first stop of the game on the last Benedictine drive. Last 2 Benedictine drives, I should say. Pardon me. To start out the game, it was 5 straight touchdowns and then a punt, a turnover on downs, and then halftime. That's how the last 3 Benny drives ended, as scraping his way forward for as much yardage as he can is a new face in the run game for Benedictine. Deion Davis, freshman running back out of Chicago, coming into today. Davis, he has just 2 rushes for -4 net yards. So he's trying to get onto the positive side of that number in his last game of the year.
And he has already 8-yard rush on his first carry.
And he'll get another one here. Waits a second now, jets forward, finds a hole, and he is finally brought down right around midfield, but there is a flag.
And that looks like it'll get called back with where the official's standing. Probably some kind of holding is what you'd have to guess on a rush play up the middle. But the whole team's going to gather to discuss this call.
You can see the Benny offense is moving back. Almost all of them are. Matt Harris, the offensive lineman, is still standing at the first down marker. And now they're bringing the ball up. It is a foul on the offense. 5-yard, and it'll be second down now. As that ball is going to be spotted. Benny, right before the Benny 31, in between the 31 and 30-yard marker.
And I was really interested to see what this Benedictine offense does in the second half with, you know, your second stringers. You have a big lead. That's when you put in your second team. We're seeing them do that with a running back. It's going to be very interesting at QB because Cooper Simmons-Little is your second team QB. He's been playing for most of this game already, too.
As Deion Davis tumbles his way forward, he'll pick up a few yards. Nothing major, as that brings up third down now. Third down and 5. Davis will stay in the backfield with Simons Little. As here's the snap. Simons Little rolls out, and he's going to flip it, and that'll be a first down. And now brought down is DJ Pearson, the tight end. As now some whistles blow towards the Benny bench. Tempers flaring a little bit in what has been a frustrating day so far for CUC.
And that's a perfectly run play on Benedictine's side. The Cougars, they showed blitz. They had 5 at the line, pull 2 back, rush 3, have your linebackers go crossing, and just everything gets mixed up in the center of the field, the lines, the linebackers. So meanwhile, you have Simmons Little rolling out to the right. And then Pearson with so much space. It's just a quick flip right up to Pearson and then a big gain. And that's something that your Benedictine offensive coordinator, Michael Whitley, he's done such a good job of today, is creating space for his players, scheming up those open areas of the field for his players to make those plays in. The play calling has been phenomenal on the offensive end of Benedictine today.
First down and 10. Handoff here to Davis, and he shakes off one man and now is brought down by a pile. Slowing him down a little bit was Jamari Jackson, but he wasn't able to get much on Davis. Spun him around, and that might have been enough to get some other tacklers in. And that'll bring up second down and 5. Less than 9 to go here in the third quarter.
Another strength that we've seen from this Eagles offense today is the offensive line. This is an experienced offensive line. Lots of juniors, couple sophomores, and they've done a great job. One of those indicators of a great offensive line is when you can bring in your number 3 running back, and they can still consistently go for 5-yard gains, such as Deion Davis has done in his time out on the field this half.
Flip here to Davis, and he's going to plow through for a first down, runs into his own man, and is tackled finally. He ran into the back of Matt Harris. That slowed him down enough that CUC's defenders could wrap him up. If Matt Harris was not in the way, who knows how far Davis could have gotten.
How far he did get, though, 5 yards, it's a first down. And, I mean, this is what this Benedictine offense has done. We've seen so many big plays from this team today. But so what's gone underappreciated is this offense's ability to move the ball in 5-6 yard increments again and again and again and again and again. They are averaging on the game today 10.8 yards of play. A lot of that's buoyed by big plays, but it's not getting dragged down by short plays, that's for sure.
Deion Davis again, they keep feeding him, and he keeps producing. He picks up 4 on that rush. Second down now. So after a successful game from both Blake Shoddy and Dino Stevens Jr., they earn themselves a break on the bench. And unless this game gets really interesting, they likely are done for the day. Here's another handoff to Davis. Davis again, a first down, and now he breaks off, and Marvin Rushing will drag him down. It took him a second, though. Rushing, talked about it before, he started with the shoulders, and that allowed Davis to just kind of carry him for a minute. It was only until Rushing slid down to his hips that he was able to bring him down, as CUC has had some issues tackling so far today.
And again, the Cougars defense just throwing themselves into that mix in the middle of the field, but no one's really wrapping up Davis. They're throwing bodies at him, but are you wrapping up? Are we tackling him? No. And Davis able to just slowly chop his feet through there until he gets out of the pile and pick up those extra yards.
Another handoff to Davis. Now it jumps back and starts forward again Not enough, however. CUC wraps them up. Again, a decent chunk of change, though, as the Cougars think they have the football. That's Marvin Rushing. The referee's really giving him no second thought.
I mean, Marvin Rushing might be saying to the rest of his defense, he couldn't have given me a bit of help on selling that one. He thought it was a fumble. He tried to sell it. The rest of the defense was setting up for another defensive play. No real question if that was a fumble.
Not worth a shot at this point. 5.5 minutes left to go in the third. Your team down by 42. Second down and 7 now. And this will be a keeper by Simons Little. He gets a first down.
You go back to those fumbles. This Cougars defense, they've struggled a lot with turnovers, mainly interceptions. Fumbles, though, they have 6 forced fumbles on the season, all recovered. That's in the top half of the conference. They have success on that end. They haven't been horrible at creating fumbles this season.
Benny, well, into the red zone now. 3 for 4 on the day on scoring in the red zone. So far on the year, they are at 74%, so just about on mark for Benedictine. As they keep Deion Davis. They won't feed him, though. Here's Simons Little. Looks to do it through the air. Into the corner of the end zone. It's caught. Is he in? He is. Woo! What a catch out of DJ McIntosh. Falling forward. The official was right in front of him, said he got his toes in. And that'll be a touchdown for Benny. They're up 48-0 now. And again, that is the issue when you don't have instant replay readily available. Questionable plays like that they are the official. Whatever is called first is what's going to stand. Official calls touchdown, and it is now a 49-0 ball game.
And I mean, watch this play. Lots of time in the backfield for Simons Little to let this play develop. And, you know, those receivers, they're just crossing back and forth and back and forth. Secondary is trying to hang with it. McIntosh is actually under double coverage when this ball is thrown. But he's also beaten both of them. And you actually don't see it on the feed when that catch was made. But, you know, it looked like he very well could have gotten those feet in. He could have gotten both feet in. He only need one in at this level. But even if he didn't in that game time decision from the official, you might as well lean the direction of the rule of cool. And that was a pretty cool play. Great catch from DJ McIntosh. And it puts another 7 up on the board for Benny.
Well, let's take a quick break and talk about another one of the seniors on this Cougar squad. A man we were just talking about, number 14, Marvin Rushing, the defensive back out of Michigan. Came to CUC last year. Since then, he's played in 19 games where he's recorded 127 tackles. He's been a very reliable presence in that defensive end for CUC. He will graduate with a degree in business management and plans to get a job related to his degree as well as coach high school football. So, future Coach Rushing, but now Marvin Rushing, having a lot of success since he came to CUC last season. And like I said, he's been a very steady presence among the defensive backs, a spot that CUC's kind of struggled with the past few seasons. But Marvin Rushing is not one of those points of struggle as he's playing in his last game as a Cougar. Meanwhile, the offense trots back out, and that'll give us another chance to talk about a senior. One of the guys in the backfield, that is Jordan Garcia, number 24. He's from West Chicago, played 19 games with the Cougars, 57 total rushing yards. He'll get a degree in criminal justice, minors in sports management and business, and he pursues to find a career in law enforcement, eventually become a K-9 officer, and possibly even work within the FBI. So a little Peanut Tillman path there for Jordan Garcia, as he's going to get some looks here at his final 19 and a half minutes of game time as a Concordia Chicago Cougar. Troy Prattley also out there. So Coach Chase Hankins, knowing that this game is probably just a little too out of hand, letting his seniors get some final reps here in their last game in the maroon and gold. And here's Garcia. Garcia rushes into a pile, and he's brought down. Good gain there from Jordan Garcia. It'll bring up 3rd and short.
And you look at that field, senior QB, senior running back, both seniors on the near side for your wide receivers. Far side, you got Manuel Mendoza over there. That's a freshman. So you got a lot of the experience out there, also some youth.
As Troy Prattley dipping and diving his way forward. He's got enough for first down. So first down and 10 now. See what this senior-led offense can do for CUC. Troy Prattley, nice pump fake there. And now he tries to dish it to Jace Levi, and it is off his hands. Nice job by Troy Prattley to avoid a tackler, but not able to get the pass to Levi. And, you know, an uncharacteristic game, Jonathan, from Jace Levi today. He's been targeted now 6 times after that last attempt, and he has no receptions on the game.
I mean, you mentioned it. He will be coming back next year for his 5th year, but still not the performance you want on your senior day. He's had such a good year on the whole, still at the top of the conference in all-purpose touchdowns. So this game won't wipe out that season performance as a whole, but still, it's not been a great day for the receiver.
And Troy Prattley, he's going to loft this one to Devin Bledsoe. Easy connection there. A connection that has existed since 2021 when these two came to CUC. It works out there. Not a ton of gas on that throw from Prattley, but just enough to get its way into Devin Bledsoe's hands. And CUC's offense starting to move the chains a little now.
I mean, full credit to Troy Prattley. That's his strength, is his versatility in the pocket, just able to move around, avoid those sacks.
As he's doing that here, he's still on his feet and is dragged down by the hip. That was Walker Schweistis. Troy Prattley dipping and diving his way through everyone as you can see Colton Bosch start to run his way out because I think that's Troy Prattley down. It is. The training staff going to come out to attend to this CUC senior. Kind of a weird sight. Troy Prattley's been such a resilient player for the Cougars. He's a very tough player too. He can, especially a mobile quarterback, he can take those hits and those chip shots and still stay on his feet. So kind of a weird sight to see him, you know, be downed by something. So while the trainers attend to him, let's look at some more of Troy Prattley's senior teammates. The kicker, Ryan Auer, we saw him attempt one earlier. He's played 39 games and has amassed over 7,800 yards on the kickoff. He will graduate with a degree in special education. He plans on student teaching in the spring. That'll start his teaching and coaching career at the high school level in Columbus City Schools in Ohio, native of Newark, Ohio. So Ryan Auer, a little homecoming as the training staff still attending to Troy Prattley.
Yeah, it looked like when he was getting brought down after the run, just it was an ankle tackle, shoestring tackle, and got twisted up a bit. And with those kinds of tackles, it's always a roll of the dice as whether or not a player will get hurt, and sometimes it ends up with an unfortunate injury with those tackles.
And I think it looked like a player had his hand on Prattley's hip as well when he was bringing him down, kind of pulling on, I think it was his left hip. So to see what the coaching staff, the training staff who's surrounding Troy Prattley can do as he's still on the ground. So we're going to take a break here while the training staff attends to Troy Prattley, and when we come back, 2:11 left to play here in the third quarter. CUC trailing Benedictine 49-0. Well, Troy Prattley being helped off the field by one of the trainers and one of his teammates as his left ankle, as I think now he's starting to put some power on it, which is a good sign. When he was being helped off, that left ankle was just dragging behind him, but you can see him planted on it a little bit now, so that is a positive sign, but it's unlikely that we'll be able to see Troy back in this game. So Colton Bosch re-enters. Still a very senior-focused offense out there right now for the Cougars. Jordan Garcia, Jace Levi, Devin Bledsoe, as well as a couple of the offensive linemen, and C.J. Morris, Christian Duran, and Jalen Franklin. All out there as seniors. Jace Levi put in motion Bosch. He's looking, trying to look downfield, and he's going to step through the pocket and take it and run. Colton Bosch, is he able to stiff arms a man? Is it enough for a first down? It is not. About 3 yards shy, but good run there from Colton Bosch to escape some pressure in the backfield.
Always something that we've seen been a point of struggle this season for Bosch is his pocket presence and the pocket awareness. That right there, perfect pocket awareness, able to hang in there right until the moment when the pocket is gone, when he's not going to be able to create a play there. And then he steps up. He doesn't hang in there too long. He also doesn't hang in there too short. Great play from the sophomore.
3rd and short now for CUC, 3 yards to be exact until a first down. As Bosch takes the snap, fakes a handoff, and immediately fires a dart. Jace Levi falls forward. Is he in? No. They're saying Jace Levi is a yard short. Levi stretching out as much as he could. Unable to cross the goal line, as it looks like CUC setting up for a push. But first, a timeout here. Coach Schroeder of Benedictine will take a timeout. You could see him furious with his defense, as they were just over 15 minutes away from a shutout. And now CUC is one good push away from breaking this shutout. But let's talk about CUC's defense and one of their senior leaders in Trayvon Thomas. Trayvon Thomas has come to CUC from Wauchula, Florida. He has played 39 games in his career as a Cougar, 255 tackles. Still a very, very high number for Thomas, and he's going to graduate the degree in business management with a minor in sports management, as he plans to pursue coaching. And here's the push now. Is it enough? I don't think so. Still on his feet, though, and he's in. Second effort from the Cougars, and that's going to be the first touchdown of the day for CUC.
And that's exactly how you handle it when a tush push doesn't work on the first effort. Roll it to the side, and you can work around the defense.
Just keep on pushing. As CUC will get set now for the point after. Dennis Vanderplat will hold for Ryan Auer. Usually that's Troy Prattley out there. As the snap is good, the kick is up, and it's good as well. CUC on the board now, thanks to the touchdown rush from Colton Bosch. As we'll get the replay for you here, but again, this is not the first time we've seen this either. CUC it's happened before. They've gotten stopped on the initial push, and they just keep on pushing. They find some space, find the end zone.
Yeah, and you saw right there, they quite literally do just roll to the left and kind of swivel the entire play and the defense. That's exactly how you handle it when that first effort is stopped. The offensive line has been great in those tush-push execution moments this season.
So CUC, they're on the board now, 7 points with 9.9 seconds left to go here in the third quarter. You can see their on the sideline. Looks like they're trying to cart Troy Prattley off. And I'm sure it's a very emotional moment for the senior. As on the field, here's a good return from Benny. That is Moore. Moore, very, very nice return. So Benedictine will set up their offense. They'll set it up for the fourth quarter as we are out of time here in the third. But we can talk about another CUC senior, one of the guys who made that last play happen, in CJ Morris, one of the offensive linemen for the Cougars. He's out of Douglasville, Georgia, and he's played in 31 games as a very key factor in that offensive line for CUC. He will graduate with a degree in early childhood education and has with an endorsement in ESL, and he will plan to pursue whatever the Lord calls him to do. So CJ Morris, a big member of this CUC offensive line since he arrived as a freshman, playing in his final game as a Cougar. But as for the CUC defense, see what they can do here at the start of the fourth quarter. Excellent field positioning for Benedictine as they are set up. On the CUC 40. Handoff here, and a good first rush. And we'll have to see who was in on that carry. I believe it's another new face in the rushing game.
That's John Miller, the junior running back out of Bonifay, Florida, which is actually a very, very far hometown for this Benedictine squad. This is a team that heavily recruits the state of Illinois. A very localized roster, but Miller coming from a long ways away, the Sunshine State, and as we've seen with most of these running backs, 8-yard pickup on his first carry.
Yeah, that is something that you notice, doing prep work for this Benedictine squad, as good tackle in the backfield, but it is not enough to slow down Joshua Brown, sophomore running back. But something you notice doing prep work for this Benedictine squad is how many Illinois products, and that is to be expected. I mean, the Cougars are largely an Illinois team themselves, but you also expect a lot of non-Illinois products with these teams. I mean, the Cougars, they pull from Michigan a lot. They pull from Ohio. They've got a New York on the roster, Georgia, Florida, Washington. Like, they pull from all over. This Benedictine squad with Coach Schroeder it's largely an Illinois team. And you kind of wonder what exactly the difference is between these two squads, other than CUC's closer to downtown, but it could just be a recruiting thing. Coach Schroeder deciding to stay here in state, while Coach Hankins and his squad decide to look out of state a little more. Whistles blow before the play. There's a flag.
And you see the false start motion, so that's a win for the Cougars. 4th and 2 will become 4th and mid-distance. It's not the first time we've seen the Cougars be able to get Benedictine to jump early in short yardage situations.
So, 4th down now. Benedictine will go for it. No harm if this doesn't work. You're still on CUC side of the territory, and you have a cushy 42-point lead. As here's Simon Littles, rolls out, looking downfield. Trayvon Thomas got to him, and Simon Littles does get the pass off as he finds DJ Pearson. But it is not enough for a first down. Good job by the CUC defense late in the game as they force a turnover on downs.
Yeah, and that was Marvin Rushing on the tackle. And we've talked so much about this team struggles with tackling. You got to go low, or they're going low when they need to be going high on the tackle. He went low where you're supposed to go there. Knock the player off balance, force him to the ground, prevent him from getting that extra yard. Because if you go high there, you still might bring him down, but they're able to chop the feet and gain those extra yards. Good tackling from Rushing.
CUC starts this drive with a little flea flicker back to Colton Bosch. Bosch looking a bullet pass, and it is incomplete. Nice play design from CUC. One handoff to another handoff back to Colton Bosch. And Bosch just not able to connect with Jace Levi, which is not a phrase we have said a lot this year.
And you want to know why that play worked for Benedictine, why the flea flicker struggled to get anyone open. They rushed two. Again, this is something you rarely ever see a defense do, but Benedictine has done it multiple times, only rushing two defensive linemen. It's such a rare strategy, but it's managed to work for Benny.
As that ball is batted down right into the left hand of Jake Diamantos. Diamantos, a linebacker out of Downers Grove, another Illinois product. So 3rd down and 10 now for CUC. Get the big turnover on downs defensively, trying to avoid going 3 and out here. They put Bills in motion. Snap here to Bosch. Bosch looking, and he's going to fling it. There is Bledsoe. A little toe tap, make sure he's in bounds. And 1st down for CUC.
Yeah, Bosch, there it is. Pass blocking held up that time. Plenty of time to let the play develop. And it's just a bit of soft coverage in the secondary that lets Bledsoe settle in to an open space. A great job of finding that spot to settle into by Bledsoe.
Bosch set up. He's got Bubba Henson to his left. Haven't called Henson's name. We will hear Henson goes head first into the fender. Not able to plow through Dawson Piper, who brings down Henson for a short gain of 1. And a half minutes. Bosch over, and that pass incomplete to Randall Bills.
That's just something you don't, when we talk about those short behind the line of scrimmage sweeping screens, and you rarely ever see those dropped at the college level and above, that's something that we've seen CUC drop a bit today, is those sweeping screens. And a lot of the times because the pass from Bosch is out in front of the receiver. The receivers say around the 40-yard line, well, the pass is going to the 41. And at that point, the receiver has to reach out in front of them while they're moving to the side. And almost every time that's going to result in a drop, because that actually is a pretty tough catch to make.
11:20 to go here in regulation. Bosch, he's got Henson next to him. They need 9 yards here for a first. Bosch dropping back, looking. He's going to roll out now to his right. Bosch is going to keep it and throws it right before the line. Finds Bubba Henson for a 1st down. Good play by Colton Bosch. Kept that ball to the very last second. Delivers a strike to Henson. And the Cougars, they got a fresh set of downs to work with.
Again, it's that awareness from Bosch that has really improved as this season's gone on. I feel like earlier on in the season with a play like that, we would have seen Bosch keep that and just go for the sideline, but they're able to keep his eyes downfield and still make that pass play right on the line of scrimmage.
Bosch looking now. He's got someone coming behind, and he throws it over the head of Bubba Henson. Benny had a couple players in the backfield close to Bosch, so he got rid of it just in time. And with 10:18, it'll bring up 2nd down and 10. quiet here in Concordia Stadium as this has been all Benny today on this senior day. Bosch now rolls out, still looking, and he fires it. Almost picked off and almost caught then. No one comes up with it. That was Robert Goder on the initial tip, and then it almost fell in the hands of Levi, but no one able to bring it in. And so it'll be 3rd down and 10 now for CUC.
That's something of note. There hasn't been a single turnover today. No interceptions, no fumbles from either side of the field. That's especially shocking with this Benedictine defense. That is good. That has created a lot of turnovers throughout this season going up against offense Colton Bosch, who is a bit of a gunslinger. He throws picks.
And he's going to throw a ball deep here and almost throws another pick, incomplete. There is a flag down on the near sideline. In coverage was Johnny Camillo. We'll see what the flag's about, though.
And it's that free play, that extra 5 yards. It's offsides, and Bosch knows that. That's why you see that deep shot. It's incomplete like that, no harm, no foul. If you make that pass, though, you're going to love it every time. You look at the NFL, one of the masters of that over the last decade plus, Aaron Rodgers, amazing at executing those free plays. It's such a great opportunity if you get that opportunity where the officials don't blow the play dead.
Bosch now looking and finds Devin Bledsoe, who drops it right in his numbers, and Bledsoe cannot reel it in. CUC's been having drop issues all afternoon, all year, really. It's been an issue for CUC. And the Cougars, they'll go for it. 10 minutes to play here. They're down by 42. No risk trying to send out your seniors with a bang.
But again, we've seen some uncharacteristic drops from both sides, from both teams today. Those plays where the pass is just right on the numbers and it just falls to the ground.
Snap here, empty backfield as Bosch is pressured immediately, and it's caught. Great catch there out of Manuel Mendoza. Caught it immediately, took a shot on the shoulder, and able to hold on to it for a 1st down. And for CUC, that is their first 4th down conversion of the day.
And the Colton Bosch's credit, too. He was shuffling backwards when he made that pass. He had to kind of throw it opposite his direction, flick it over the head of the pass rush, and he got it right on target.
Bosch looking, he's going to sling it, and he finds Mendoza again. Mendoza sidesteps one defender before he's brought down. In on the tackle is Miles Galindo as well as Dawson Piper.
And that's almost the exact same route on both of those plays for Manuel Mendoza. About the 10 yards cut in, find that open space. He's created that separation that Colton Bosch has seen and exploited 2 straight plays.
So you see some shifting on the offensive side, trying to get the right personnel in the right spots, as now CC, they're going to have to call a timeout to get things all sorted out. That'll give us a chance to talk about some more CUC seniors. And number 56, Jalen Franklin, another offensive lineman. 29 games he's played as a main component of CUC's offensive line. Started this year as the center, had to move over due to an injury. Wasn't really able to snap the ball, but still able to find playing time in this line. He comes from New Orleans in Louisiana, and he will graduate with a degree in exercise science. Plans to become a football coach at either the high school or the collegiate level. So Jalen Franklin, who you don't see rushing, you do see out there right now, and I believe that is him at center. And he started the year as a center for the Cougars, ran into an injury with his snapping hand. And so that moved him over a spot, but now he's back under center. Snap here, Bosch immediately pressured again, and he's just going to loft this one into the corner of the end zone. Coach Schroeder wants intentional grounding. as there was no one in the vicinity of that pass.
There absolutely is an argument for grounding on that. It doesn't look like the officials are really even going to consider it at this point in the game.
Yeah, it'd be a pretty tacky call to make here. 8:39, one team's up by 42. I mean, yeah, like you said, Coach Schroeder definitely has an argument, but at this point, not a ton of worth in calling that, as Bosch has to roll out, and now he'll flip it, and that was almost still caught. It's incomplete, but Colton Bosch, again, running for his life. He's been doing that a lot so far today.
And it's just such a critical component of the game. I would say that's been the biggest difference between these teams. Disregarding CUC's defensive struggles today, the offensive lines, you look over at Benedictine, they've been able to plug in pretty much whoever they want at running back and gain yardage. The Cougars, they've struggled in the running game today. Colton Bosch has had to make a lot of off-script plays today because he's taking so much pressure. Those offensive lines really make the difference between a successful offensive day and an unsuccessful offensive day.
Bosch finds Bills out on the wing. Bills now, after the catch, finds a hole, and he's pushed out right before the pylon. Randall Bills, oh so close to a touchdown, but good job by the Benny defense to push him out just in the nick of time. So CUC, they'll set up right on the one again and see if they go with the tush push once more. It's looking like it. Three players now. Garcia, Jackson, and Levi set up behind Chase Levi. Behind Colton Bosch, as here's the push. Is it enough? Pyle falls forward, and that'll do it. Touchdown for the Cougars. Colton Bosch, second rushing TD of the afternoon.
You don't even need the second effort on that one. It's a push, and it's in. Perfectly executed from the offensive line. Again, like we said, so good with the tush push this season. Ryan Auer back out for the PAT, and to his credit, Ryan Auer, one missed field goal today, but 2 PAT attempts, both of them made, and he's actually had his best season as kicker for CUC. Coming into the year, only 2 field goals made on his career. Had made fewer than 50% of his field goals in his entire career. This season, though, he's gone 5 for 7 kicking, about 71%. Coming into today, that percentage has gone down, but a big improvement from his first few years at CUC and a good final year as a Cougar.
Saw the replay on your screen of the last CUC touchdown. Not much to it. Just set him up and push him forward.
And the Cougars reach double digits. We'll see how aggressive Benny is on offense. They've been running it this entire half, and they very well could hold the ball. If they can get a few first downs, hold the ball, and run out the rest of the clock for this game with 7:59 remaining.
On the season, Benny is averaging the second most time of possession per game, 32 minutes and 7 seconds. So this is a team who they can hold on to the football. As Sebastian Hill, he's going to try a return here. Sebastian Hill fumbling forward for a decent gain right before the 30-yard line. And so, not to call a race, not to call a winner before the race is over, but Benedictine very much in the control of this game. CUC, if things hold out, they'll finish the year 2-8, 1-7, which that overall record is a 1-win improvement over last season. They will finish with the same conference record as, in fact, the only team they beat in conference play last year was Eureka, like the team they beat this year. So a very similar finish in terms of the standing, in terms of the schedule, I should say, but still a lot to look back positively on the season. I'm sure Coach Hankins will have a lot of things to say when I meet with him this week for his final coach's interview of the year. But even though I know the defense really struggled this season, it's been a really nice year for the offense at least. This was an offense that has always been towards the bottom of the rankings over the last couple of seasons. And now, while they aren't the number one offense that we saw towards the beginning of the season, they are, towards the middle of the pack, which is a really good sign of improvement for this squad. Simons Little keeps it here. He's got a good gain. There's a flag. Chase Hankins fired up. See what the call is here, if the run will stand. It's still short of a first. It's a good run from Simons Little, though.
I didn't catch the number, but if I had to guess where that flag is coming in, there was a block going all the way into the Cougars' sideline. Maybe it's an unnecessary roughness. It is a hold. That's definitely what that call is on, just carrying straight into that mob of Cougar players right around the 40-yard line.
And CUC, this is probably the most energetic we've heard this crowd and this team since the beginning of the game. You can hear some chants coming from the crowd now, trying to get the defense fired up, see if they can get another stop here. Only 7 points given up in this second half. Again, it's primarily been against Benedictine's second squad, but still a vast improvement with how the first half ended.
We've seen this Benedictine team get a lot of big plays, not in this half, though. They'd love a big play here, second and long.
Flip here, and busting through a hole and brought down. Finally, the whistles blow. That was Josh Brown. As there is a flag now, Brown was staying on his feet for quite a while after the initial tackle.
And that flag was thrown at the tackle, right at Brown during the tackle.
Foul on the defense, so that's going to hurt CUC after they had some good momentum riding.
Yeah, that's a face mask you can't have. It's a standing tackle. You got three defenders wrapping up one guy. You just got to be smart with where you're wrapping up your arms. You don't need to go that high on a standing tackle with that many defenders on the rusher.
Less than 6.5 to go. Simons Little will keep it and brought down in the backfield. First man in, Jamari Jackson.
That was a QB draw, and it did not fool the Cougars' defense at all. The defense sniffing that out a mile away.
You can see CUC's offense is getting loud right now. They're having some fun here at the end of the game. Trying to end the season on a positive note, despite how this final game has gone. Second down and 12 now. As that is a high snap fumbled, he still gets it to Brown, who is putting everyone in a spin cycle, spinning forward. As there is an Eagle down now. That is Cam Morris, a freshman running back, holding his left knee, and that's going to give us a break here. So how about we talk about another Cougar offensive player, offensive lineman, Christian Duran. He was an all-conference member last year, and he's from Joliet. 36 games in his career, another key member of this offensive line for CUC. He will graduate with a degree in business management and plans to start his own business in the near future. So Christian Duran, another integral part of this offensive line, along with Jalen Franklin and C.J. Morris, as he is playing in his final game as a Cougar. And the final CUC senior who was celebrated today was number 97, the defensive lineman Myron Spencer. Native out of Detroit, and he's played in 11 games for CUC and has accumulated 15 total tackles. He will graduate with a degree in criminal justice and plans to pursue a career in law enforcement. So that'll do it for all the seniors. We did get a quote from Coach Hankins about what this senior class meant to him, and he said, "This class will always hold a special place in my heart for as long as I coach. They were the freshman class when I was first brought in as an assistant coach, and there's a sense of feeling that we grew together over the past few years. They are epitome of the team Bible verse, Galatians 6:9. They did not grow weary into doing a good because they know that there will be a time for them to reap their harvest because they never gave up." So a lot of positive things about a senior class who has played a big role here over the past 4 years with CUC. And again, also the first senior day we've had here at CUC for football since 2022. No seniors on the team last year. Flag now, and it is on Benny.
It's a false start. It looked like it was on the running back, Brown, who flinched and just fell forward before the ball was snapped, again getting caught off by Simmons Little's Cadence. And you see that a lot when you have that second team out on the field. It's players who might not have practiced as much with each other.
That's Simmons Little. He's going to keep it. He's got a long way to go, and he's not even going to come close. CUC's defense able to stand him up. And with less than 5 minutes to go, CUC should be getting the ball back, you would think, though they might keep the offense out here too.
This is in a bit of that no man's land. You never like punting it off around midfield, but you're very much too far out for a field goal. 4th and 4, it's manageable. They could be trying to draw the Cougars offside.
They look towards the offensive staff. 8 seconds to go on the play clock. 5 seconds to go. 3, 2, 1, and they get the snap off. Simmons Little, he's looking, and he's going to keep looking, and he airs it out, and it is off the hands. Turnover on downs as DJ Pearson unable to reel it in. And with 4:01 left to go here in regulation, it will be CUC football.
I mean, Cooper Simmons Little has had a good day today, but I mean, he's got to be thinking, if my receivers didn't drop any passes today, how much better would it be? He had a touchdown pass dropped. That play right there, that could have very well have gone for another touchdown. Pearson had green grass in front of him, and that was a great pass, too. In stride, right on the hands, breadbasket, and just dropped again. So tough luck for Simmons Little.
So CUC's defense has really stepped it up here in the second half. Just 7 points allowed. That was in the third quarter. See if their offense can keep producing as Colton Bosch finally finds Randall Bills, trying to put the moves on his defender. He escapes a tackler. Randall Bills now. What a run. Still on his feet. Now he's brought down. Randall Bills. Great run there out of the freshman. That was all Randall Bills on that play. He got that ball right around the line of scrimmage. That was kind of Colton Bosch's last option, as that was the last player he turned to. And Randall Bills able to make it work, as he's got CUC well downfield now. Bosch with Pritt, and Pritt again coming up big for his Eagles. That'll be sack number 3 on the afternoon for Pritt. That means he's eclipsed his season total coming into the game.
Yeah, that's how you make up for a bit of a disappointing, definitely not a bit of a disappointing season from your perspective. Pick up 3 sacks in the season finale. And again, that one just able to just blitz straight through the line, untouched, chase down Bosch. Pritt has played so well today.
Bosch, he's going to try on Cork on a bullet pass, and it is almost intercepted. Josh Coates. They say there's a reason those guys are playing defense. That ball landed right in Coates' lap, and he just couldn't hold on.
This Benedictine coaching staff on the sideline, it's got to be wondering, has my guys got bricks for hands today or something? I mean, so many dropped passes from this Eagles squad. And this game already a blowout, already a dominant win that could have been even more dominant if these players just made the easy catches. I mean, that one, it looked like Coates was the receiver. Hit him in stride on the in route right at the goal line.
I mean, it is cold. I mean, this is definitely the coldest game that we've had so far this year. But still, like you said, Jonathan, that was a perfect throw to a receiver. I mean, he was falling over a little bit, but still. And for Coates, he's a good secondary member, senior out of Chicago. He knows how to get his interceptions, just not able to reel that one in. That probably would have iced the game. Instead, it is third down and long, 15 yards to go to a first down. Empty backfield for Colton Bosch. 4 receivers to his left, 1 to his right.
Coach Schrader saw something, ran onto the field late.
As he's looking, he finds Manuel Mendoza. He was that lone receiver on his right as he makes it about 4th and 5 or 6. And CUC will go for it.
And I think I've noticed what Schrader's seeing. He's just been able to see when the Cougars are going to pass it, because I think what that call was, he ran onto the field and was yelling at his players to make a late change. It was another change to that 2-man rush, again, which leaves 9 players in the secondary.
And a timeout called, as it will be the 2-minute warning. 2-minute warning timeout, I should say. So CUC will talk things over, as this will likely, again, just with the lack of turnovers we've seen, this will likely be their last offensive drive of the game. Unless they try something really wacky after this possession. But CUC, and in the year here, this is officially the end of the fall season here at CUC. As starting next week, we are fully into basketball season. Both basketball teams kicked off their seasons within the past week. Last Saturday, they both started. Women's basketball played again this past Tuesday, and then they both have their home openers. Men's is here on Tuesday night, game against IIT, while the women, they welcome University of Chicago on Friday night. So basketball season is officially here, while football season is 2 minutes away from wrapping up at Concordia University, Chicago. Colton Bosch takes the snap as he's going to look downfield, and that one over the head of Devin Bledsoe. That's a pretty hard task to accomplish, considering Bledsoe is 6'3", and that'll be a turnover on downs. And for Benedictine, you just got to waste another minute 56, and you are on your way to win number 5 of the year and 3 in conference play.
I mean, unless Coach Hankins for some reason would want to, this Benedictine team could theoretically kneel this game out. There's no point in calling those timeouts that could theoretically prolong the game, but being down by this much.
Yeah, the only reason you could see him doing it is maybe he wants to give his seniors, as much of a chance as they can to get some touches, get some looks on the field. As Benny, they're going to run a play. No kneel. There will be a rush play as expected, and it's a big rush play. That was a good run up the middle for a first down by number 46, who we, in fact, do not have on our roster sheet. So there are a lot of players on the Benedictine roster who do not have a number assigned to them. So this mystery running back, likely one of those guys. Fortunately, we have no real way of discerning that, as there are a couple of running backs without numbers on the roster. David back to number 46. He's going to rush it for a small gain as the clock continues to tick away. Coach Hankins just letting this one run out, looks like. As Benedictine, one more run here will likely do it. Clock under 40 seconds, so Benny, as long as they don't turn over the ball here, this will do it. It looks like they're going to rush it again. There's a snap, another handoff to the running back who is brought down, but that'll do it. Clock at 21 seconds, that's enough to run it out. And so the 2024 season will come to an end. The CUC welcoming Benedictine to River Forest here on Senior Day. And not going the Cougars' way to end the season. Clock hits 0, and that'll do it. 49-14 win for Benedictine to spoil Senior Day for CUC. So let's start to wrap things up here. Benedictine, let's start with them. They'll finish the year 5-5, a 500 record. Still, however, the most losses this Benny squad has had since 2018, and the most under Coach Schroeder. They will go 3-5 within conference play. Also finished 4-2 on the road. So, kind of interesting that this team finished better on the road than they did at home. Don't usually see that very often. As for the team stats, Benny compiling 488 yards of offense, 269 through the air, 219 on the ground. The main threat through the air in just 5 attempts, 4 completions was Evan Wojciechowski, 207 yards and a trio of touchdowns. And Cooper Simons Little, 7 completions on 11 attempts, 62 total yards and 2 touchdowns. Rushing-wise, it was Dino Stevens, 7 attempts for 60 yards and a touchdown. Blake Shoddy also having over 50 yards on 9 attempts. No touchdowns for Shoddy. Receiving-wise, Dino Stevens sinks to a 66-yarder, finished with 82 yards and a touchdown. Also finishing with touchdowns was McIntosh, Stevens, Corbett, and more. And defensively for Benedictine, it was Brian Prey. He's been a 2-time first-team all-NAC level player, and he was doing that again today as he finished with 3 sacks, easily the best game we've seen out of Pritt so far this year, and unfortunately just happened to come against the Cougars. As for CUC, they finished the game 280 total yards of offense, 262 pass yards, 18 rushing yards. Colin Bosch leading the way with passing, 20 completions on 41 attempts, 235 yards, no touchdowns. Troy Prattley, who we still see now being helped onto a stretcher. He left the game with an injury. He went 3 for 4 at 27 yards. Obviously helped that. Troy, everything is okay with him moving forward as he took kind of a weird hit during one of his rushes. So obviously wish the best for Troy on his senior day. Rushing-wise, Joran Brown, 24 yards, was the leading rusher. And then receiving, Randall Bills, 102 receiving yards, 59-yard long reception, kind of helping that number. Devin Bledsoe also having 71 yards to help him have a nice day here on senior day. But Jonathan, let's kind of get your closing thoughts on this game. Obviously, not the way you want senior day to go, but on this game and really just the season as a whole. First year under head coach Chase Hankins.
I mean, it never is how you want senior day to go. This game was really set up as a strength versus strength, weakness versus weakness. Good offense on good defense, bad offense on bad defense. Unfortunately, ended up being that the Benedictine defense was better than the Cougars' offense, and that really made the difference for today. That Benedictine offense also able to exploit the Cougars' defense. You talked about it earlier. This is the first year under Coach Hankins, and in all respects, it's a bad year looking at it objectively. 2 wins, Lots of points given up, a lot of big losses, but there were so many good flashes, especially from the offense on this team. They showed us a lot of firepower at some points, a lot of progression from last year to this year, especially with such a young roster as this team is fielding out there. They had seniors this year, but it was still such a small percentage of this team's makeup. A lot of underclassmen on this roster. So it's not a horrible year for the Cougars. Going forwards, that offense really does appear to be the bright spot. I mean, it makes sense. You have an offensive-minded head coach. Your young stars are all on offense. So that's where this team really shined this year when they were at their best, where they expect to grow. The defense does have a lot of room to grow, and it's going to be a tough project to figure out over the offseason because it's not just a case of let our guys get older, let them become sophomores, and then we'll magically be better. This was one of the worst defenses in the country this year, and that's not a magical quick fix. There's no magic fix for having a defense that gave up, on average, more than 50 points a game this season. It's statistically the worst defense this school has had since their winless season in 2002. But again, it's a very young team. So if you have a good offseason, you bring in some new freshmen, maybe some transfers, you can work with these guys, help them get better over this offseason. That defense can take a major leap going into next year, and that's really the big thing coming from this season is you have a lot of young players. They can all take a big leap next year, and you also had a lot of flashes going, especially early on in this season. So this season, not the best, not what the Cougars hoped for, but still, there's positives, and there's room to grow for CUC.
Well, we're going to wrap things up here. A senior day not going CUC's way. Falling to Benny 49-41. Want to say, one more congratulations. Thanks to all the effort of all the seniors that were honored today. Jace Levi, Devin Bledsoe, Troy Prattley, who we obviously hope the best for as he is stretchered off the field after a weird hit took him out of the game. Marvin Rushing, Jordan Garcia, Ryan Auer, Trayvon Thomas, C.J. Morris, Jalen Franklin, Christian Duran, and Mylan Spencer. Might not have been the ending the guys were hoping for, but those guys should take pride in all they've contributed to the Cougars over the past 4 years, 2 years, however long they've been here. But as for us here on the Cougar Sports Network, I want to say thank you to everyone who made the production possible. Our spotter for the day was Dave Dimling, Samantha Ferdinand, working participation, Sasha Gonzalez and Luciana Moran Cruz. Our camera operators for the day we had Eric Perry on production, and then Sebastian Miller taking photos around on the field, and then our former assistant sports information director, Sydney Palaskis-Laher, making her return to work at the stats, and then we're under the current direction of our graduate assistant, Sydney Lloyd, our assistant sports information director, Corey Welch, and our sports information director, Kayla McLeod. Jonathan Shear joining me all afternoon and all season long as well. It was a fun ride through an interesting 2024 football season with you, Jonathan, and look forward to getting into some basketball action, men's basketball here on Tuesday, so it'll be fun to switch over to the winter season here on the Cougar Sports Network. But for now, one more time, Benny downs the Cougars 49-14 here on Senior Day. The Cougars finished the 2024 year 2-8, 1-7 in conference play as they'll get set for action in 2025. But even though the season's over, don't worry, you can still find all coverage for the team on our website, cucougars.com. But until next time, this is Peter Borkowski sign off of the Cougar Sports Network and wanting to say, as always, go Cougars!
Thank you so much for tuning in to today's Concordia University Chicago Cougars Athletics broadcast. We hope to see you on campus very soon. If you would like to learn more about what Concordia Chicago has to offer, go to cuchicago.edu.